And so in the woods on that night, me and my brother Michael, we were kind of like just wandering around, and I picked up a pizza with him because we were hungry and wanted to eat. And when we got home, like the whole tool shed just seemed a little bit weird down at the bottom of the garden. So of course we did what any kids would do at that age, and we went to kind of like investigate. And one of the things we had at the time, which is really, really unusual for in the UK, we actually had like little Reese's Pieces as well, which we don't get over here very often at all. But we were trying to work out what kind of animal or creature was in the tool shed making all of the noise and the racket and stuff like that. So we'd kind of laid out all of these little Reese's Pieces across the garden to try and see what was going on and see if we could coax this animal out, thinking it was like, you know, like a squirrel or maybe it was a fox or something like that. But no, it turns out that it was something completely different, which we weren't expecting. Then from there, the whole government kind of got involved and kind of started investigating because they wanted this thing out of the shed. So yeah, it was kind of like a whole thing. Just really weird times, man. But we had to go to like government facilities, and they put up all of these tents around the house. And at one point, I was riding my BMX through the woods on a night time, and I had my hood up just like this. My hood was just like this, and we actually managed to float through the air. It was amazing.
Wow, that sounds like quite an adventure, Jay. I know you're kind of known for your adventures, but man,
was something else.
This was something else.
That was a journey. Is what we're saying. That was a journey.
I've not seen that film for so long, so I hope I did the story justice. I can only remember like the first 5 minutes of it.
It took me a second, but that was one of the few I actually got.
I think the Reese's Pieces outside the shed might have got a lot of people in for it. Let's see who got it first.
I think people in chat are confused. VHC says I don't understand. Curious Yellow says lay off the LSD. I just arrived. Don't worry about it. If you don't understand, it's fine. It's not important.
You don't need to.
None of it matters.
It's not even remotely important.
J-Chef, thank you very much for the 500 heart-like bits. That's very kind of you. Thank you, man.
Appreciate that, J-Chef. Also, shout out to the people that subbed before we went live here. PMSing Chicken, 31 months. Thank you so much, man. Daft Prophet with 12 months, tier 1, says good evening. Good evening to you as well, sir. Noxygen, 15 months, Twitch Prime. So thank you so much for that. Says Pog. Everything's Pog. We big Pog out here. Oh, Lang put his hood back on. Okay, perfect. I didn't want to say anything.
Sorry.
But I was like...
I had it down, you know.
I was like, we had a plan.
I need some kind of entrance, like...
It's the way you wear it, man. You just look so good wearing it. I look like E.T.
Jay and I look really, truly terrible, and you actually look like a fantastic human being.
I mean, you've gone for the headphones over the top of the hoodie, Brian, whereas I've gone for the headphones in the hoodie, which makes it look like I've just got off really fat.
And I've chosen for IEMs, so there's no, protrusions there.
I should be.
Yeah, I mean, I've still got the cans on, but yeah. Which reminds me, Brian, I will be sending you these because I bought the new ones in the end after all.
Oh shit!
So
did you?
I will send you these. I bought the new. They're at home at the minute. Yeah, I bought the new ones.
Ooh, you have me excited. You have me very excited.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah.
Shout out to Juan Above All. Great username, by the way. 2 months too.
Jay, the last person I would ever think would say, "Yeah, boy."
And I did it live on stream as well.
See, once we all have hoods on, we become different people, right?
Yeah,
it brings out true. Like our inner like gangster persona, right?
It's grime in the UK right now, isn't it? So get with the times, Brian. It's grime music. That's the big thing. Grime look. Yeah, grime. Yeah.
I don't think I've ever in my life been with the times, Jay.
Hey, there's a first time for everything, Brian. There's a first time for everything.
There is.
Curious, shall I say, Jay's hood up is probably because the heating is not turned up in the warehouse. So the heating's not on in the warehouse, but it is on in the office. It's freezing here. It's gone 1 a.m. And we actually had snow earlier on as well, so it is cold. But the heating's on in this room.
I'm jealous. I really want snow.
It wasn't laying or anything, but it was coming down in the air. Like, it was cold.
I'm a big
Curious,
fan.
Jay, brap for the UK massive. Oh man, you're making me say things that I would never say in real life. That's the thing that's funny.
So we got a yeah boy and a brap from Jay tonight.
Brap.
And that's just the beginning, guys. We're gonna get a lot more out of Jay in this stream. It's gonna be good stuff. Along with his bits, J-Chef also subs at tier 1 for 24 months. Thank you so much, J-Chef.
And do you know why that is? Because J-Chef is such a good guy. He's such a nice guy.
He is. He's definitely one of the nicer people I've met in the community.
He's a gentleman and a scholar and a legend.
Curious Yellow says Booyakasha. I haven't heard
No.
in
It's
so long.
Booyakasha.
Booyakasha. Yeah.
Oh my god.
You got to do it right with attitude.
Yeah.
I am just. I'm
go,
not hip. I'm not with it. I used to
Why
be
did
with
I
it,
say
and then they
yes to
changed what it was.
Oh my god.
Were you an it boy when there was it girls on the magazines? Was that a thing in the US?
I don't even know what that is. No.
We used to have.
That was the days of frosted tips and
It was, yeah.
Justin and Brittany in full denim outfits on red carpet. So
yeah, where triple denim was acceptable. Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard for me to remember those days because they were terrible. So
They were just awful.
I don't know what was it then.
What is it now? Does anyone know what it is right now?
What is it, and how do I become it? I don't know.
Maybe chat. Maybe chat is with it.
Yeah. Chat, tell us what it is right now for you.
TikTok dances. All right, boys. Where's my phone?
That makes sense.
But
I don't
the whole
even
thing
have
on
the
TikTok where
TikToks.
you like snap your fingers and your jumper disappears and stuff, or you click your fingers and then a dog appears in your arms. I thought that was the whole TikTok thing.
For our US friends, he means hoodie when he says jumper, just so we're clear.
Good. I needed that clarification because I was
A hoodie
very
is a
confused.
hoodie. A jumper is what you guys would call a jersey. A jumper is like no collar. It's just like rounded here. There's no hood on it. Long sleeved. You call that a jersey, right?
Okay.
Sure, Jay.
No?
Sure, Jay. No, it's fine.
What would you call a jersey then?
A jersey would be like what an athlete would wear, right? Like a football player.
Oh, so you mean
would
like
have
a football shirt?
You're
Right,
describing a
shirt.
crew neck sweatshirt. Is what we would know.
Yeah, like a crew neck sweatshirt. Yeah,
you typically see middle-aged women at Walmart in a Mickey crew neck sweatshirt. That's when I see them.
Well, you live in the US, so yes, that's the thing.
Yes,
in the UK,
that tracks. Yep, that tracks.
Yeah, we don't do that here.
Yep.
Penguin Dropping says missing some ears on those hoodies. Oh man, ooh. Too much ooh in here.
Wait, I know some of these words. Brian, you're so kawaii. Ooh woo, is that right?
Kawaii means scared, actually.
Oh, right. I don't know.
Kawaii means cute.
Oh my god.
Okay.
You were close though. You were close. It's just the accent.
I tried, damn it. I tried.
Welcome to Top Clack, where we have no fucking idea what we're doing.
That you know what? That's totally true. We rarely do. In fact, that's just kind of the running theme these days. But hell, still some people watch us. For what reason, I have no idea. But at the very least, we're gonna have a good time, I hope.
Hell
Morgan Carver says, can that be the new slogan? Man, it's been the new slogan for so long, just no one's known about it.
Oh, I think everyone's known about it, just nobody says it. Everyone knows how awful we are these days. It's okay. We just try to have a good time.
My camera struggles when I do anything with my hood, so
I'm starting to get a little bit warm, so I might even have to take
come on.
Yeah, I have de-hooded. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's fine. I'll go with the
sorry,
flow.
not sorry.
I guess this is the new hip thing. It's just not having hoods on. It's fine.
I'm just not having hoods on. Yeah.
Morgan Carver, thank you so much for the Twitch Prime sub, man. Appreciate that. Need that to be the new slogan. It's the slogan. Don't worry.
Yeah, we've moved away from do the thing, click the buttons, send the money to.
Oh man, yeah. I wore that shirt the other day, and like I had to explain it to someone when I was at a store, and I was just like, I don't. I'm like, I am never wearing this shirt in public ever again.
I wanna give a quick shout out because Jay brought it up prior to the show, but last year at this time was a very rushed Top Clack stream because the time changed in the UK, and today Jay was on time, so mad respect for getting up even earlier to do the stream.
Yeah, Jay got up way early for this one. But hopefully that means he'll get an extra hour of sleep after the stream.
Yes.
No, after the stream, I'm back to packaging in the warehouse. Assuming we finish around 4 a.m. for the stream my time, I'll be packing from 4 a.m. until 9 a.m. in the warehouse. Gotta ship them key sets, yo.
Hashtag just J things. All right. Well, I suppose we should probably start the show now. As much as I would like to keep bullshitting around. Actually, we'll probably wind up just doing that anyways, because that's just how it works. But at least we'll pretend we have a theme in just a moment. So,
Hey, at least we're having fun.
You do whatever you want.
At least
You're
we
an
have.
adult.
At least we have Langelandia. So I mean, what could actually go wrong? This is only going to
At least we have Langelandia.
This is only going to get gooder.
Lang.
The pressure.
No, you see, you've got this wrong, Lang. You are like a tonic for the heart, man.
Yes.
You make everything
Pressure.
better.
You make.
That's very kind. Thank you.
You give me feelings.
Oof, the flutters.
Curious Yellow says there's a show. If that's what you want to call it, yes.
As one of my favorites.
Is a strong word.
Ooh, 159 is gifting some
gosh.
subs. Hot damn.
159, man. Thank you.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, 159.
What?
What a scholar and a gentleman. And this comes right after Morgan Carver gifted a tier 1 sub to 159. Paying it.
Amazing.
Paying it forward in tenfold, quite literally. Thank you so much, man.
Jay, as one of my favorite British celebrities would say, you give me the fanny flutters. So.
No, he's not. Wow. He's not British, right? Did we talk about this before the show?
Oh no! I'm referencing a different individual. So.
Okay.
Yes. Anyways.
Oh my gosh. Anyways, I'm gonna roll the intro, and we're gonna talk about something or other. I think. I don't know. This is already just too much fun.
Already.
All right, ladies
Off
and
the
gentlemen.
rails.
Welcome
Off the
to
rails.
this episode of Top Clack. I am your host Quakemz, as usual, joined by my lovely co-host Jay. And today we have a very special guest. As you can probably see on your screen, we have the one, the only, the man, the myth, the legend, true legend, in fact, Langelandia. Gentlemen, how are you guys doing today?
I'm doing well. I'm doing all right. I'm good. I'm tired, but good. It's been a really, really productive week for me, so I'm really good.
Nice.
I echo the same. It has been a week of things and
Yeah.
stuff. I have. Oh, my camera lost me again. Just
It's okay.
good and
It's just
good
part of
and
the charm.
scuffed. It wouldn't be a stream with me if there wasn't serious scuffage. As you can see, I've completely redone my entire office, and I have sweet gamer RGBs in the background and stuff. So I've been busy.
It looks like you've been taking notes from Osiris.
A little bit. But I have a classy painting that I hung up.
That's true. I don't know if he has any classy paintings. So we'll...
And I built a box. I built a box like out of wood and stuff.
I don't know why that sentence is just way too funny to me. I built a box out of
and
wood.
you can't tell, but those white pots, those are
Okay.
succulents. Okay. And there's a little greenery hanging down.
Foliage.
Do you know what? I can actually snap you on that, Lang, because here in the workshop, in this office right now, I'm actually growing from scratch succulents. Would you like to see how my succulents have grown?
I would like to see, because I haven't checked into... You haven't posted updates on the story recently about that.
All right, so we're officially on to succulents on today's episode of what is supposed to be a keyboard show.
A Top Clack exclusive then, Lang, on how my succulents have grown before it goes on to Instagram. So can you see that they've grown?
Oh, me, oh my. Look at that.
Look at that. They're actually growing.
It's defocusing me again, everyone, because I'll just cover that light up and then it'll stay on me. So I'll just cover that light up.
Position. You're just there.
Basically, I can't move at all. So.
I mean, it wouldn't be a Top Clack stream if it weren't incredibly scuffed and we go off the rails about absolutely everything. So I think people just kind of expect it these days, and I think most people are generally okay with it. I hope.
Gio, thank you very, very much for the gift subs there as well. Thank you, dude. 6 tier 1 gift subs there. Oh, Gio, you're such a huggable bear.
There's a lot of fantastic people in the chat today, as we can tell.
Chat is only full of fantastic people today.
That's true. Well, Osiris is still in chat, I think. So.
Oh, I thought he'd left.
He's a little. No, I'm just kidding. He's fantastic as well. With that said, should we talk about our topic for the day before this somehow turns into like an 8-hour stream?
Oh,
Are
God.
are you guys okay?
Yeah,
We,
No, Osiris,
we've all been talking for like an hour, and we have done zero keyboard conversation at all.
You
Like,
know,
none. Like,
that's okay though. I mean, we don't. It doesn't always need to be about keyboards, right? Right? We can.
oh, God.
Well, it's funny you should say that, Brian, because the topic isn't necessarily about keyboards today, is it? Why don't you tell us a bit more about it, Brian, and bring us back on track?
Sure.
That
sure.
segue, though. That
Wow.
segue.
See, Jay's actually a professional.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Not sure what I'm professional of, but sure, let's go.
well, it's okay. We're all professional in some way, I guess. So this week's topic is actually going to be about community atmosphere. So last episode that we had was about community stagnation, and where I was admittedly a little bit negative, but I think there were some things that needed to be said, and I think that it's okay that we're to be the ones that say them. But yeah, we wanted to talk a little bit about community atmosphere, and of course we want to bring Twitch chat along, so if you guys have any experiences and whatnot, feel free to just put those in, and we'll check those out as well. We like to kind of promote some discussion going on here, so yeah, I guess let's just get started out with the very vague question of, like, what does it feel like to be an enthusiast in the keyboard community right now? Because all of us have been in the community for a while, and we've seen the community transition pretty strongly over the last several years, so I mean,
Yeah.
compared to how it used to be, and we'll start with you, Lang, too, because you've been in the community for a while as well. How does it feel in the community right now versus maybe when you entered the hobby? What does the landscape look like to you, and what does it mean to you to be a keyboard enthusiast right now?
So, the pendulum swings for me, right? Like, I kind of go wildly from extremely happy to like extremely disillusioned, and then sometimes I'm right in the middle. Right now, enthusiast hat on, I feel frustrated, to be candid. Lead times are hugely long, products are more expensive than they've ever been, and obviously some of that is due to the times and shipping and extra production costs because of having to have more individuals or less people in a factory because of COVID. But right now, in one word, I feel frustrated as an enthusiast.
I think that's a fair assessment, and I definitely appreciate your honesty, because I think too many people sugarcoat it these days, and they think the community is all, you know, roses and yada yada yada, and it's like a fantastic place, and there are a lot of fantastic places in the community, and I think there are a lot of fantastic people, as we've seen, but overall, I think it's okay to not feel fantastic about the community right now. I think there's a lot of things that are going right. I think there's a lot of things that are going maybe less than right. And I think, you know, having emotions on that is totally fair. So I'm glad you said you were frustrated, because I feel like a lot of people don't want to admit that the community is not always amazing.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think you're saying, like, what a lot of people are scared to say, or maybe don't feel like they're comfortable saying. So yeah, big props for that.
Well, and it's also this funny juxtaposition, because, like, at the exact same time that I'm really frustrated with the way things are going, it's like the only tether I have to, like, some moments of joy right now. Like, my best friends in the world I met through keyboards, and I talk to them 5, 6, 7 days a week, you know, whether that's on voice or through just chat. Like, so just it mirrors how I feel about the world right now. Like, I find such beauty in the way the world is, and I find such beauty in the hobby, but goddamn, it really is frustrating all the time at the same time. Like,
yeah, I'm actually really glad you said that, particularly because a lot of people are like, oh, well, it's just a hobby, and, like, sure, on the surface, you're right, it is just a hobby, it's just keyboards. But I think we can all pretty much agree, at least the three of us on stream right now, if it weren't for the people in the hobby, we probably wouldn't be here. If it were just about the keyboards, we probably would have been gone years ago, probably. So
maybe, yeah. I think
maybe, sure. That's maybe too big of a generalization. But let's be real. Most people that actually are in the hobby for several years are generally here because of the people, because of the community. It's not necessarily just because of the products. And this is something that we talked about in the last episode as well. I mean, there's kind of a stagnation in some of the design, you know, in the innovation, and we're getting out a lot of things, but we're not necessarily getting out a lot of new things. And it's become, for lack of a better way of explaining it, it's become a less interesting place to be as far as products are concerned, on some level. But with that said,
I'd agree. I think the positive side of that is the fact that we're all kind of bound together by the same frustrations and the same challenges.
Yes.
And especially in this year, the way that 2020 has gone. And I think one of the big positives we can take from this year is just that the community has kind of rallied around each other. And I know one of the things we're going to talk about later on, Lang, is kind of some of the stuff you've done with Clack Fancy and everything else, and we've seen all of the virtual meetups and everything. But one of the big positives to me right now in the community, aside from all of the the product side of stuff and stagnation that we talked about the other week, is just how much people do rally around each other and how much enjoyment you can get from the hobby by making new friends and just spending time with them. Like that's the big. You're right, Brian, when you say that it's the big thing for the hobby. It absolutely is the big thing for the hobby right now.
Yeah, and that's it's very true for me as well too, because I love keyboards as much as the next guy here, but at the end of the day, I'm here because of the community. I spend a lot of my day talking with people on Discord, whether in text chat or voice chat or whatever, and just like you said, Lang, I've made a lot of friends in this hobby, and most of my friends that I currently have are friends in the hobby. It's not like I have a ton of friends out in the real world. I mean, I'm an introverted asshole. Like, come on, I don't make friends. So, like, the community is a really big deal to me, and because of that, it's become sort of like a family. And due to that reason, I take it a little bit more seriously. It's not just a hobby for me anymore, because like keyboards / the community is what I live and breathe like every day now, particularly the community. So. It's a big deal to me, and I think it's too easy to brush it off as just a hobby per se.
Yeah.
Really quickly before we continue on the conversation, introverted asshole sounds like a really serious medical disease. Like, just when you said that, I about died. I almost died. Like,
it's okay. It's a new condition that has been founded by me. But it's not appropriate to talk about on this particular stream. It's a very serious medical condition.
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Right, okay. Show back on the road a little bit.
I'm just going to sit quiet for a minute.
No, you're good. You're good.
No, it's fine.
This is how this show goes. It's raw. It's natural. We make jokes. We laugh. We're friends. We have a good time. And we discuss stuff. It's all good. It's all gravy, baby.
So Curious Yellowstone, how does the community rallied around each other? Like, the community's rallied around each other a load. Like, one of the big things for me, and Lang was kind enough just randomly to invite me to this the other day, was Clack Fancy. Like, having a series of group-run online meetups in a world where COVID is rampant and people can't go and say hello to their friends, their neighbors, they can't go to meetups and everything like that. That's a huge example of how things have changed. There's been a whole series of mental health stuff that's gone on in the community in the past year and everything else. Alex Otos and Mentally and everyone else that have done all of that kind of stuff raised a huge number of money for charity, with all sorts of giveaways from huge amounts of makers. There was a ton of great examples this year of where the communities rallied around each other. Like, I could probably talk hours about all this stuff. Like, the community is so strong in some respects, and so the backbone of people behind some of the major things in the community, they just exude confidence and strength, and that kind of filters down, and it helps people out. Like just last week, just the fact that you said to me, Lang, after I made a silly comment in a Discord server, come and join us on Clack Fancy and just be there, even if it's only for 10 minutes. Like, that just made my entire day. Like, that just completely changed my mood. It made it from one of drudgery and a dreary day to all of a sudden, have a bit of fun and excitement, and that it made my day. It really did.
Well, I'm glad. That's why we even started with it, is just, this last week, I think we only had a couple hundred attendees, which is a couple hundred opportunities to have someone feel like they've been heard or actually spoke to a human, We're hoping for another one in December around the holiday, because obviously the holidays are going to be exceptionally hard this year.
Sign me up, Daddy, because I want to help out any way I can. After doing the other weekend, I want to help out.
So, and again, this isn't a platform where I don't even stream on my Twitch channel. Like, this isn't about me. This isn't about the organizers. This is about the people in the community. Chubies did a typing test, and we were on his stream channel. Like, this isn't to promote your own brand. This is just to talk about the hobby things, get people together, and so that you don't feel so fucking alone all the time. Like,
Yeah.
sorry to be blunt, like,
It's true.
bro, I'm home alone all day. I have a wife and kids, and all day long I'm home alone. Like, it sucks. Like, sometimes I just got to talk to people, man.
Yeah.
So
It's true. And something I've learned over the last several months, because I was struggling with some mental issues, and other people kind of came out and, they were very supportive of that. And, we learned over a several month period, I learned that a lot of people are struggling mentally or otherwise in this hobby. And I think that the virtual meetups are a really good place for people to kind of dip their toes in, to be like a little bit social. I mean, you don't have to turn your camera on. You don't even have to unmute your mic. You can just sit there, listen to other people. Maybe you'll gather up some courage and put in a word edgewise. Whatever you want to say. And it's cool. It's very friendly to newcomers, and I think that's super awesome. Something I do want to address though in chat. Curious Yellow said the meetups are basically echo chambers. Almost everywhere in the community is an echo chamber these days. You go to almost any Discord or forum, it's very cliquey, right? I mean, everyone kind of has their own kind of thing, and you want to defend the people that you like. You want to defend the products that you like. You want to defend the friends that you spend all day talking to. And I think that's totally fine. It winds up being a lot less of who's right and who's wrong, and more of just what is kind of appropriate for that particular community or sub-community rather.
Yeah, and I think the whole idea that echo chambers in the hobby are new is kind of misguided a little bit. Like, when the hobby was much smaller, you had a few different camps. You had kind of like the Asian community, and then the Western community was all revolved around Death Authority and Geek Hack. And if you liked vintage stuff, you went on Death Authority, and if you liked modern group buys and stuff, you went on Geek Hack. And that was a status quo for quite a long time. And then the rise of Slack and Discord and everything else started to happen as more people came into the hobby. So the echo chambers were there. There were just fewer of them. So people kind of got directed to one or the other. Now there might be more echo chambers, and that can be a good or a bad thing depending on how you view the hobby. But one thing that I would say is that those echo chambers, whilst they can generate some negative things, they can also generate some great ingenuity and creativity as well. People sitting together and working on an idea to make it the best that idea possibly can be, that's not always a bad thing.
Yeah, definitely. It's one of those things where like echo chambers it's not inherently a bad thing, kind of like gatekeeping, right? Like, there is positive and negative gatekeeping, like we've talked about previously.
And I think all of this kind of feeds into itself sometimes, especially right now. So, earlier Curious Yellow mentioned that maybe there's some toxicity in the community, which I completely agree. That absolutely is a thing.
Yeah.
But it's exacerbated by the fact that people can't talk with each other, and their days, a lot of times the day fucking sucks right now because you're like, I can't go visit my father-in-law with my children because I'm worried that I'm going to give him an at-risk person COVID by accident. Like, the days just suck sometimes. So just naturally human beings, sometimes we take it out on people. And so I think we have to push even harder to be inclusive and understanding, and empathy is a huge, huge thing that we all need to practice immense levels of right now. So, I mean, anyways, I think they feed one another sometimes. And also, a question for you, Brian, quickly, before we transition to a subtopic or something new. Curious Yellow also wants to know is it hard being really, really good looking? Do you find that difficult?
Wait, did someone say that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it hard being really, really, really good looking, Brian? I'm sorry, he said 3 reallys.
That was not directed at me. I think that was absolutely you.
No, that is for you.
I'm pretty sure it was directed to you, Brian. I'm pretty sure.
Thank you, Jay. I knew it was for him.
I look terrible right now. I look like a caveman. I need a haircut. Actually, tomorrow I'm finally getting a haircut and a beard trim. This has been freaking forever. I'm not going out to do it, but a friend of mine is doing it, which is pretty awesome.
Hey man, if that's what Curious Yellow likes in a guy, man, then there's nothing wrong with that.
I think I'm all right. I don't know.
Top Clack, famously not a kink shaming podcast.
No, not at all. Not at all. We are very open minded here.
Famously not a kink shaming talk show.
No, absolutely. Well, we can talk about that for a while, but
we are on record as being anti kink shame.
Yeah,
that is.
And I say we because that's all 3 of us this time.
I think I'm fairly average looking, and I will say that it's very easy to just be very average looking because this is just the way I look. so I don't really have to do much, as you can probably tell.
Oh man,
You guys,
I'm just
are
helping
ridiculous.
us start
Um,
from topic to topic without.
no, you're
anything-
good. You're good. Quick shout out to Iwade, who gifted a tier 1 sub to Really Big D. Just gonna
Here,
let
let me
username
add
sink in
10
for a
years
second.
back on, Charlie. Let me add 10 years back onto my life by taking off the hat.
Oh wow! See, now you just look absolutely amazing, and I
Wow.
think everyone
Wind
just
blown.
needs to.
And right here, I'll turn it on and I'll get.
Are you losing weight?
I am actually.
You're definitely losing some weight. Yeah, you can see it in your face even.
Yeah, not drinking 6 beers a day will do that.
Yeah, that was one of the things that did it for me too. But I pretty much cut out drinking.
Yeah.
The weight just started kind of coming off.
Yeah.
Do you know? And just on that, today is the 1 month anniversary since I last had a drink. So
Wow, nice.
Yeah, a month without a drink. Not that I intended to do it or anything else, but yeah, it's
Hey.
a whole month without a single
Yeah.
alcohol.
I love that journey for you. So snaps.
That's fantastic. I mean, it doesn't need to be like a super extreme thing. Like, hey, I'm never gonna drink again either, right? It's like one of those everything is fine in moderation.
Yeah.
Most people over moderate.
Oh yeah, wild addicted to everything. So moderation is not something I'm really able to practice. So
Yeah, looking back now, I can safely say that for a while I had an alcohol addiction, and I'm very happy to not be in that spot anymore.
I'm an alcoholic that doesn't drink anymore. Yay!
Nice. Anyways, so we should.
To be fair, like, you
Anyways.
put me off with alcohol back in Seattle last year, like that.
You're
that
welcome.
Oh,
You're welcome
I
for the bacon
I still
vodka.
cringe when I think of that one. Oh, the bacon vodka. No, man, no.
I'm sure it's
That's still good
fantastic
for
and a
me.
bloody.
Maybe,
Probably,
maybe.
yeah.
I can't believe you said yes to trying it. Like,
Jay,
Jay, try
I
this
was
bacon
gonna be
vodka. I'm sure it's
embarrassed
good.
of you, friend.
Okay.
Jay, Jay's open-minded. It's okay. It's okay.
I'll try anything once, right? I'll try anything once.
Oh my gosh.
That's how I got in the back of that truck.
We should probably get back on topic here at least a little bit. Anyways, what were we on? Oh my gosh.
I don't fucking remember.
You're a pro at derailing like my thought train.
Oh, it's all I exist to do. It's completely derail everything.
It's totally fine. It's totally fine. So we were kind of talking about echo chambers, if I recall, and one thing I do want to kind of just point out there is something I've been thinking about a little bit more lately is when someone comes into the hobby, you know, years ago it was easy to kind of just like you kind of sink in with everyone, but nowadays you have to pick like where you end up, right? Because you can't like live in every Discord server. Like that's just not feasible. Like you end up somewhere, whether it's a Discord server or a forum or whatever. Like you have a place where you spend the majority of your time in this hobby, and like you generally will make the friends there, or you know you'll be surrounded by you know the people that you support or etc. And you know it's an interesting thought because it's gone are the days where you can kind of just be a part of the community at large. Now you're a part of like somewhere. So like what do you guys think about that? Do you think that's like a good thing to have where people kind of just end up somewhere? Because from what I've learned is depending on where people end up per se, that kind of affects how they act in the community, right?
It can. It can change their opinions on what's good or bad in terms of design, aesthetics, and you know who the good or bad players and actors are within the community, and that can be, you know, good or bad depending on where they fall. I think there's certainly some areas of the hobby that I would prefer people not to fall, and I think there's certainly some other areas I think do a really good job of being open and inclusive, and you know, not necessarily not having echo chambers, but being able to understand that they don't have to be necessarily toxic or derogatory about certain things or aspects of the hobby. But you see it everywhere. There's always some inkling of an echo chamber, no matter where you drop into, whether that's around a specific product or a specific maker or a specific vendor or a specific set of ideals. And I think that most people will tend to be in more than one Discord server, and as you say, they will tend to just primarily stick to a handful of those. Whilst they might be in 30, they'll predominantly post in maybe 2 or 3, and it does become harder and harder to try and keep your options open in that respect. It's kind of difficult.
So I think that Porcupine has asked a very, very good question of what does being in the hobby mean? Like,
what does being a part of the community mean?
Part of the community mean? Excuse me.
Sure.
I find that question extremely interesting because, for me, like, I work on key sets now and again, and I talk in Discord all day, and I do streams, and I build keyboards. For other people, being a part of the community is interacting on Reddit posts, and that's their extent, right? So, when we have this conversation, I think level setting is probably important, based solely on that question pointing it out right now. Is, for me, being in the community is being active and making friends and all this. Someone else maybe wants to get their one keyboard and peace out. Like, I'm a part of the community because I have a keyboard,
Yeah.
Sure.
And I think you're absolutely right on that, Lang, as well, because there's and I'm going to use a word that I don't really like to use, and I don't mean it with a negative connotation, but the hobby is vastly made up of lurkers, people who join Discords and never post anything. They just read and they just hang out, and they don't necessarily post anywhere. They read the Reddits or whatever, whatever their form of choice is, but they never post. All of these places have got thousands and thousands and thousands of people there that never ever post. They just read and they sit in the background, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I don't want to like shame anyone for doing that. That's absolutely fine. There is no reason for you to post if you don't want to. You don't have to actively communicate to people to be part of the hobby. But I do think we could be more inclusive for those folks. I do think we could try and be more understanding of that kind of aspect as well.
Definitely, yeah. No lurker shaming, says I went it. Yeah, no, for sure. Like, it's
I'm not
if
shaming.
That's how you want to consume like the content or whatever in the community, that's totally fine. That's totally fine. Your prerogative. There's nothing wrong with that, and don't let anyone tell you that you're doing something wrong because of that.
And just so everyone's clear, I started laughing when Jay was talking because Jay said the Reddits. Like, it was the boomeriest thing you could ever say.
That's how we do it here, man. That's we are like we
it
are
almost killed me. I was not shaming lurkers. I was simply reacting to Grandpa Jay saying they read the Reddits.
Hey, no Jay shaming either. Come on.
Like, they're doing the weed. Like,
the Reddit.
They got there on the devil's lettuce.
But you said the Reddits. Like,
yeah, the Reddits, the different channels on the Reddit. Our custom keyboards, our mechanical keyboards, our mech keys, whatever you want.
I can't stay serious at all tonight because everything is funny to me. So I'm sorry, I'm ruining the show.
No, well, here's the problem. No. Jay and I are boomers, and you're not. I think that's clearly established here.
Okay.
Oh man,
I lurked for a long time, man. Like,
a lot of people do.
I lurked.
I mean, so getting back to the question rather of what does it mean to be in the community? I think it can mean a lot of things. I think just having an interest in mechanical keyboards, going out of your way to look at keyboards or talk to people about keyboards. Like, even if you're not talking, you're just kind of like scrolling through, a subreddit or a Discord server or whatever. As long as you have like an active interest in mechanical keyboards, even if you don't even own one yet, I would say you're effectively part of the community at that point. If you have an interest in it.
I would agree.
So I'm curious about something, and maybe it's just the people, but like,
not the Reddits,
but
the people.
I wonder if I'm thinking now about the echo chamber comments and the fact that like the people that make up the hobby skew a certain way, right? Typically younger. There's a lot of software engineers. There's a lot of people that use their keyboards as their work tool a lot of the time. Does this echo chamber kind of exist because there are a lot of like individuals? Yes, we're very diverse backgrounds, many people of different nationalities, race, religion, color, creed, all that stuff. That said, we clearly have similar interests to a point because of that. So I wonder if some of the echo chamber isn't just natural in that regard. Because and then I'm just musing now. Because then my initial question was like, one of the first group buys that I joined was the Doro 67. It was like the second group I ever joined. What on earth kept me in the hobby, aside from the people? Like, what made me say, I want to keep doing this? Like, and obviously, I know you two have both had really terrible group buy experiences. But like, I think it takes a certain type of individual to stay active in the community that way, at least at the level we are active. So sure. I don't know. I don't really have a takeaway from that. I was just I had those thoughts, and I was like, gotta say them.
Yeah. No. I agree with you. Like you are absolutely right that the hobby is incredibly diverse. And I suspect we don't know how diverse the hobby is because most people are, it's online, right? People don't give up information about their backgrounds and everything else like that unless they're really comfortable with it. So the vast majority of people, you don't know anything about. You just know that you have a shared enjoyment of mechanical keyboards, and that's the bond that keeps us together, irrespective of everything else that's around that. Whether it be creed, color, race, religion, politics, whatever else you want to throw in there. I think it's kind of interesting when you think about it like that. That these echo chambers are made up of people who like one specific thing, but who would probably disagree about 1,000 different things in real life. Very interesting, actually.
Kimchi Jody Boy says it's entirely possible the hobby is way more diverse in opinions than we realize, but the quote-unquote echo chamber is a result of a majority of the hobbyists being lurkers. So that's the thing, too. I feel like if you are active in the mechanical keyboard community, like you talk in Discord like every day or whatever, you comment on threads or whatever, chances are you're pretty passionate about keyboards, or you're just pretty passionate about the community, or both. Both is fine, of course. So it's, yeah, I don't know. It's echo chamber, again, not necessarily a bad thing. It's just kind of the way you portray it and kind of like what the opinions are echoing. Because sometimes echo chamber can be a thing of positivity, and like you want to spread that positivity. I think more often it's used with a negative connotation, and it's like, you shouldn't be allowed to have that opinion or something like that,
I think we maybe are also talking about the same phenomenon that we see in the workplace. Like, I'm thinking office setting, you've got type A personality people. If you put them in a room for a brainstorming, those people are going to be the ones that are talking, and they start to do what the most corporate word I'll say here is safe storming, where they all glom onto this one idea that they all like, but maybe there's an introverted asshole that isn't saying what they actually think, because it's just easier to let these really hyperactive people just do the thing, right? So in that sense, they stay lurking, right? So I would assume that there's some similarities there. I would again, agree. Assuming can make me an ass, but just saying.
No, I think you're right. Like you see this no matter what, and a lot of organizations these days are moving to agile work practices and everything else to try and encourage people to collaborate more and everything else. But I think you're absolutely right in the whole kind of way that Discord servers and clicks and echo chambers, whatever other terminology you want to put around this happens. I think you will absolutely see that phenomenon, that the people who are vocal will tend to drive the opinions forward, because they will post about it more often, they will talk about it more often, and the people who are reading, lurking, whether they class themselves as part of the community or not, they will see that more often than they will see another opinion, because that's just kind of how that thing works. I guess the other side of this as well, and I can't remember who said it, but I think it was Dark Heavenlight, says that if you lurk, does that actually make you part of the community? I have to disagree with the take. I think lurking probably comes into two camps: people who are just there just in case, and people who are there because they are actively reading and understanding and learning and taking stuff away from that. Whether they participate in the conversation or not, they are actively keeping up to date with the conversation, I would say. And I would say that the second camp, absolutely yes, they are 100% part of that community. They're in that community. If you're just there just in case, then perhaps you're not part of that sub community, and you're just waiting for a specific topic or event or happenstance to drag you into it. That's probably slightly different. But I think we should be inclusive of all of those people, irrespective of their stance on why they're in a certain serve or a certain part of the hobby or a certain clique. We should be very understanding of that, or wherever we can be, we should.
Well, and we don't really have any visibility to how often they're participating by spending their money either. Like, if they're a true lurker, they're a part of the community as a whole, right? But there's also the aspect of supporting it monetarily, right? So I don't know. That's another aspect that we're kind of losing in the conversation of community, because the one of the child kits for Cafe existed because someone was like, oh yeah, I'll buy 50 of them, like, because they wanted to see it get made. And that person I don't see often, but they are an active participant in my world because a thing exists because they bought it. So I would say absolutely that person's a part of the community, at least to an extent, right? So
yeah, Yeah, I mean, if you're actively buying keyboard and keyboard items, I think you're definitely part of the community. If you're making an account on otd.kr, like he uses as an example here, or Geekhack or another forum, whatever, like you're interested enough to be part of the community. I would say Reddit is a little bit different because it's pretty easy just to be like, oh, those mechanical keyboards are pretty. Like, I'll add that to my Reddit list or whatever. But like, if you're making an account on Geekhack, which is pretty much exclusively keyboards, like you probably have enough interest. You're probably passionate enough.
Curious Yellow comes out with a very interesting question. He says, and I assume this is based on one of the comments you made a second ago, Lang. It says, "Is money the benchmark of how true a believer you are?" I absolutely disagree with that. I think that's not true at all. I mean, Brian, for example, is one of the biggest influences on my time in keyboards, and he's absolutely bang for buck. What is the most value per dollar he can get out of the board. So I would say money is not the true benchmark, and you have other people, whales at the other end of the hobby, that have spent thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars and probably don't have many more opinions than the average person that's just joined the hobby. It's I think trying to bring money into a conversation about how important people find the hobby to them is a very, very difficult thing, because money isn't equal across everyone, and it shouldn't be used as a benchmark.
Well, and yeah, I would like to think, obviously, but that very much was not at all the point I was trying to make. So just so we're clear, I was not saying that you are a participant if you spend money. I was saying the lurkers also choose to spend money, which I would say is a point in the column of a part of the community.
Yes, yeah, two very, very distinct and separate things. I completely get what you mean. Yeah,
very much, yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Dark Heaven Light says, but how many out-of-touch Desma ICs or keyset ICs do we see? I think that might disprove that having a Geekhack account is a benchmark of being part of the community. Something being out of touch doesn't mean to say that someone's not invested in the hobby. Like, just because they're new and they don't understand how a certain thing works, or they do things in a way that's not part of the community's general consensus, that's not necessarily a bad thing. And it doesn't mean that they're not part of the community. They absolutely are. They just haven't got the experience that other people might have.
That's more true now than ever, too, because nobody knows everything in the community anymore. Remember, years ago, it was so easy. You would know everything because it was so easy to keep up.
That's X, that's Y.
All right, this is the group buy this month, guys.
Everyone that was passionate and active in the community, they knew everything because it was so easy to know everything.
Yeah, there were only 25 keyboards and 30 key sets.
Now you can't do that. Like, I consider myself a keyboard enthusiast. I've been in the hobby for many, many years. Do I know everything? No. I barely know what the heck's going on, this week in keyboards, because, there's just so much happening. And, so much new in ICs in particular. It's you can't keep up with it. It's a full-time job keeping up with the community.
That's why we stopped doing the news on the show as well, because we just
not feasible.
It was too much work,
to do it the way that we wanted, it was just not feasible. But yeah, I mean, it's a good point to bring up.
And also, not to God, that light, I should have turned it off. What a silly thing I did turning that light on. I think it goes back to originally when I talked about how important empathy is right now. I think it's just, you see these out of touch interest checks. And I think it's a two-way street. Number one, the reason for an interest check is to see if anyone gives a damn about the thing that you're passionate about, right? And if that individual doesn't care about what other people want, well, then clearly that's going to stay an out-of-touch thing, right? And maybe that's why it was presented out of touch in the first place. But on the second token, I believe all three of us at a time have commented on it, but the weeb sets, more and more anime sets keep coming, right? And sometimes I find it struggling to not just be like, oh, are you kidding? Another fucking weeb set? But it's okay. People want that. There are many people that will buy that and like that and enjoy that, and that's a part of why they're in the hobby sometimes. And so I even have to check myself and say, well, just because I don't want this thing or I feel it's out of touch doesn't mean it is completely. Also,
I think that's a really good point to bring up and talk about, because a lot of the more active and passionate people in the community are, I don't want to come off as a bad person by saying this, but a lot of them just think they're always right and they have all the answers, and they know they're the authority on colors that work well together and this and that, and it's just like it's overwhelming. But I think, and I kind of want to tie this into what Curious Yellow just asked, said, what's the one thing you want to see change? Then, for me, we mentioned empathy earlier, and I totally agree. Compassion, have more compassion for your fellow keyboard enthusiasts. Like, we all think we're right all the time. We all think we have all the answers, but in reality, we don't. And I think it's good to realize that we can have differing opinions and still be friends. We can still be in the same community. We don't have to like the same things, and we don't have to hate on each other or be hostile because someone likes something that we don't. For example, weeb sets, quote unquote weeb sets, being an example there.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. We have to remember and be compassionate around the fact that this is preference. Just because you like something a certain way doesn't mean to say that everybody else likes things the same way. Lang might like cereal with milk on. I like cereal with water on. Who knows?
Okay, well, if you like cereal with water, you're just wrong.
Is that true?
There's no way
is that true?
No, it's not true. No,
that was a horrible example.
Because I currently work for a company that produces cereal, so I would be extremely mad.
You do. That's why I use that, because I know you do. Yeah.
Extremely mad.
But no, like it is all about preference, and just because okay, here's a more actual one for you, Brian. Just because I use a certain shaped enter key doesn't mean to say that I can't be part of the hobby or have a valid opinion, like some people have suggested in the past. And just because certain people like wing keyless boards rather than anything else, this hobby is 100% based on preference. And just because you don't like something doesn't mean to say that you should say it's not for the hobby to have. Like. And I've fallen foul of this before. I remember saying this about some of the stuff that came out that was a little bit off the cuff years and years ago. And I probably said it on the show, and it's where I hope that I've grown. That I might have said that something shouldn't be in a GMK production slot, but that's not for me to decide. That's for the community to decide if they want to buy it and pay for it. And if they do, then that's absolutely fantastic. And just because it's not for me, I shouldn't be the one to gatekeep and say, well, that shouldn't be produced. That's not for the hobby. Whether that be around colors or styles or designs or wording or whatever else it is, it shouldn't matter. It depends on what are there people out there that want that particular product and they want that particular thing, and if they do, who am I to shame them about that? Should absolutely be around preference, should never detract from what other people like to prefer, and your preference shouldn't actually be projected against anyone else.
Yeah.
So to go back to the question about what would you like to see change, it actually pairs well with a question that was asked later. Piotr asked, one thing that I would like to see change in terms of the community, and I think it plays into the being more open, less gatekeepy. We don't have like a good way of disseminating information for new people. Like there have been some either kind of half-hearted attempts or to be candid, failures in the past of attempts to put that all in one spot. And a Google document that is 50 pages long that we link to is not an acceptable form for me. So one thing that I'd like to see change, that hopefully I can help be an impact on, is to help curate some of that content so that it's more accessible for new people, because it is really hard to feel included when we don't have a good language. We don't have a built lexicon for us to share all of this information with these new people, and they come in and they're like, wait a minute, whoa. They can't even decide on what type of switch they want, and we talk about 3. Like, let alone learning how a keyboard works or how to build one or all that shit. So anyways, I was just thinking about that. So
No, I think Lang, it's a really big problem that we have, and we're not the only hobby to have this problem. Like,
No.
there is so much information that is out there that people have just absorbed over the years. So the stalwarts, the people that have been around for a while, just know like how to put a board together, how to know your switches in the right place, simple stuff like that. What's the difference between the three major genres of switches, and how does Topra compare to MX or Alps or whatever? Right? There's things that people just have inherently picked up and learned through trial and error or whatever else, but there's no way to easily impart that on anyone who's new to the community. And I can't think personally of a really good way of doing it. You could do wiki articles and you could do video series and stuff like that, but none of that works for everybody. And I don't know what the right answer to this is. I'm kind of like at a loss for how we do it, but there does need to be something that starts to help people find their way through that minefield, especially as they're starting their journey on the hobby. And to be honest, anyone, no matter how long they've been in the hobby, could learn something new about it as well from whatever we can come up with. But that's kind of like a plea to the community to try new things and to come up with new ideas and ways of sharing information, because there's just no good way at the minute that we can do.
Yeah. I just want to take a quick pause for a second to point out something I saw in chat. Osiris says, "My dad eats cereal with orange juice."
Is he serious about that?
I think so.
I mean, I'll eat cereal with a glass of orange juice on the side. That's what he means, right? Because the alternative doesn't bear thinking about.
No, I think he means as a replacement for milk in your cereal. I'm going to assume that's how that is intended.
Could we just take a cut here and go back, and everything that I said about preference, that just goes out of the window? Because Osiris, if that's true, he's wrong.
I don't know life anymore. I don't understand. Oh man. Go on.
Okay.
Lang, you work in this industry. Is this a thing? OJ on cereal?
Well, give me a K.
We broke Lang, guys.
That's
Lang.exe has ceased functioning.
I'm really struggling with this.
I saw that and my mind was... I just went blank for a second there, too.
Does not compute.
Okay, Yup. I'm sure that's something people do. So, to get that taste out of my mouth, I'll tell you a silly story quickly so we can change topics. I once, before the pandemic, in the long ago, the before time.
Before 4 times?
I took my children bowling when I was visiting my home state of South Dakota, which, if any of you pay attention to the news, you know why this is ridiculous at this point already. So when we were there was a woman and her children next to us, and they were out on like a party thing, and the pizza got delivered, like the crappy bowling alley pizza. And out of her purse, she pulled a liter bottle of ranch dressing for her pizza. The bowling alley has ranch dressing. She brought one from home because it was the good stuff. So, anyways, I figured I would change the terrible mouth feel of orange juice and cereal with this ridiculousness that is my home state. So
I don't think I've ever in my life seen a liter size.
Yeah, it's the big bottle. It's like the huge fucking bottle.
I've seen that. Yeah, with the pump press action, right? Is that the one?
Yeah.
Oh man, that's
enjoy that, everyone.
I don't know what to say about that. I feel like we get sidetracked by food way too easily on this show. It's always food. Always food.
I think that Dark Heaven Light asked a good question earlier, or at least pointed out something. That there is likely some resentment of those who have been in the hobby for even a little while, at how many normies come in and are just flipping things. Like, I assume that some of the toxicity we're seeing, or the gatekeepingness, or like guarded action, is because for years it was like this altruistic feeling like, oh, you know what? I was able to join that group buy, and I got you, and we're friends, and I shipped that to him for free, and he'll get me back later, and we traded this. And now all of a sudden it's very vulture-y, like, you've got people that intentionally only do flipping, like, cool for them, but it also harms the community. And I don't want to have a conversation about flipping. It's been done to fucking death.
Yeah.
But I think that's an interesting perspective because, I mean, it sucks. Like, it sucks.
Yeah, and I think you're right now, and I think the way to tie this back to the topic is that doesn't help with the community atmosphere. Like, I'm not going to name names, but I gave something to someone a while back, and it was an expensive thing. It like wasn't cheap. I didn't ask any money for it or anything like that. I just gave it to them because I was trying to be nice, and then I was kind of upset when I saw that they were selling it for not what it was originally worth, but like the current market value, you know, the flip price effectively, just a few months later. And that kind of that had a really negative impact on me. And I think that I can kind of understand how that could be perceived across the community in the way you're suggesting, Lang. I can kind of understand how that would impact people. Yeah.
Zebobus says, I think the toxicity is common in North America. EU rarely has this. That is not true. I have met many people outside.
Let me tell you a story
North
about a friend of
America.
mine.
I have met toxic people from all around the world in this community.
You guys should look at some of the Geek threads I have.
Yeah, toxicity exists everywhere. I think
I'm not going to name names.
One of the things that I will say is that people from different parts of the world are generally have different ways of communicating, and that's like a culture thing. Like people grow up in different ways, like, you know, the perceived British stiff upper lip and, you know, all of that kind of stuff. So while some things might appear on the surface to be more polite, doesn't always mean they are.
Yeah, Iwane says, I think at this point, we can't refer to the community as a single thing. At this point, we have a lot of sub-communities. The flipping community is just another one of these. I think that's totally fair. That's kind of what ties into kind of how I started the show is, you know, we are like an overall like community, right? Like mechanical keyboard community. And, you know, we're all probably enthusiasts in that. But at the end of the day, like, you go somewhere. Like, you get in the community and you go somewhere and you probably stay there. At least for, you know, some semblance of reasonable time. Then you might move on to another place where you stay for a while. It's just kind of the way it works now because you can't be everywhere in the community. You can't know everything anymore. You have to settle somewhere, effectively.
Speaking of toxic, by the way, did you hear how Brian introduced that? He said how I started the show. Pretty sure there were 3 people here the whole time.
Sorry, how Lang started
What's
the
that
show.
Crap about, dude? Huh?
Well, you know me. I'm just
I'm
known for my.
You just get used to that. Just the way Brian talks about things like that. You kind of get used.
Yeah, but
to
that's Stockholm syndrome. Okay, you're just identifying with your captor at that point. Okay, Brian, this is we. Okay, Top Clack is a community. Okay, it's been all 3 of us for years. Okay, I can't believe that you're cutting me out like this, and Jay too.
It should have been. It should have been all of us.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
I'm the captain now.
You know what? That's fine. Take it away, Captain. Where are we going next? You want to play this game? We'll play this game.
In no way. I just want a meme. Okay, I just want a meme.
You and everyone else in the community. Lang is the captain now. Yes, I agree.
Worst guest ever.
Worst? Oh my god.
Why didn't we have him on the show before? This has been so much.
I'm gonna pass out. Like,
I mean, well, he's technically been on the show before. He's filled in as a guest host for one of us on at least 1 or 2 occasions, I think.
Sure. Yeah.
But I don't think the 3 of us have ever been on the show together.
yeah, I don't think we have.
No. Yeah.
Not unless there was the show where we talked about COVID in March.
Oh yes, with everyone.
Or April.
True.
I don't remember when.
True.
It was March. Last week in March. That feels like it was like 5 years.
It was
7
literally 1,000 years ago.
Zbobust is saying not familiar with Lang, but is he a designer or something? You could say that.
He is something.
I'm a guy.
That's for sure.
I'm just a fucking guy.
He's something. Yeah.
He's a guy that does things. I'm like looking around for like key sets on boards that you've designed.
So to be fair, Zbobus, he is the designer of GMK Cafe, Infinity Gran, amongst others. Co-designer of 808 Boom. I'm not sure which other ones are public and I can talk about or not.
I like
as well.
that.
I'm going to stop there. As well as a streamer, one of the guys behind Clack Fancy, and Lang is huge in the community, man. He's a very important person.
I'm just some fucking guy.
Aren't we?
I don't know
all,
about
though?
huge. I don't know about huge.
That's what we all are, though. Like we're just random people. Like all of us are just random people in the community, and like that's totally fine. And sometimes people choose to take influence from us for better or worse.
I did just make an Olivia clone, so
I wanted to point attention to that because that meme just never gets old to me.
Never gets old. You
Never.
can't. There was that Reddit picture about a week ago where someone had 2 polycarbonate 60%, one with Olivia and one with Cafe right next to him, and it was a nice high res photo. I cannot tell you how many times that was sent directly to me. Of like,
oh man, if I'd have seen that, I'd have desaturated it so you couldn't tell the difference between the key sets, and I'd have said,
oh god, I got so many DMs of just that picture that was like, I don't see a difference. I kept getting the corporate has asked you to tell the difference between these 2 pictures. They're the same picture.
Oh my gosh. I'm gonna be honest, and obviously I'm colorblind, so this doesn't apply to everyone. But there have been a couple times where I've seen one of the 2 sets, and I wasn't sure which set it was.
Someone sent me a picture of Mizu that was so bad it honestly looked like Cafe. I don't know how.
Wow, that's
and
impressive.
Someone sent me a picture of Grain with light accents that looked like Cafe Dark. Like I don't know how.
Yeah, I can probably. Get that, yeah.
Like, okay, like whatever. I give up. Like, they're the same fucking set. I don't care.
Wait till I do it with 808 boom. Wait till I do that. And
shit! Look at the Grain thread and look at the set comparisons. One of my favorite jokes I've ever done was comparing it to how similar it is to Vaporwave and fucking Tarot.
I laughed. I laughed way harder than I should have when I saw that originally.
I remember talking about that.
I remember that. Yeah, when we had back when we were doing the news and you put out the interest check or whatever. We loved the interest check. Obviously, it was definitely one of the funniest interest checks I think I've ever seen, along with a fantastic set, of course.
Nathan Alphaman said that I should comment on my own IC and complain that this is the same as another set I just did.
That's funny. I like that. Yeah, you should do. Just as an aside, Captain Schwa, thank you very, very much. He says he's the captain of Top Clack.
He's pretty OG.
Schwa, and he's been subscribing for 38 months. 38 months.
Okay, you know what? He's the captain now. I relinquish.
Yeah.
Yes.
I relinquish my command.
That's fine. We should just get him on the show and have him drive a show for an episode and see what that's like.
Just like a social media takeover, except it's captain.
That should be like a special stream or segment we should start doing. We should just bring someone on and just have them direct the show and just see what happens.
We should, yeah.
That'd be a lot of fun. Captain Schwa, let me know if you're interested.
When does April 1st fall this year or next year? If the Earth even still exists then.
Yeah, we passed April. It's October.
Past April, yeah.
April 1st is a Thursday this next year.
We're always past an April.
Top Clack takeover.
Oh my gosh. Oh god, no, I'm the king of Lurker. That's true. Captain Schwa doesn't talk a whole lot, but he's always there.
He's always there.
I'm interested for April 1st this year, or well, I guess next year at this point. I want to see what April Fool set you put out, Lang, that eventually gets made. Because I feel like that's kind of a running theme in the community now. People put out April Fool sets and they get made.
I don't have funny enough jokes. I'm not funny enough to actually put out an April Fool set, I don't think.
I disagree. I think you're pretty funny.
I had an idea earlier today that I laughed about that I might try.
If you make yourself laugh, you know it's probably good.
Oh yeah, because I'm no.
Oh my gosh. Lunar says still waiting on GMK MAGA. Or I guess it's been renamed, right? Americana.
Well, it was going to be... Right, okay, so here's what happened. I did MAGA as a meme, like a total meme. And then the whole world went to crap. I won't comment on Trump, but yeah. And I did, so many people reached out and said that they would actually buy that because they liked it. And this wasn't just people in the US, this was people all over the place. Vendors reached out at the time and said that they would love to run it and everything else. And it very, very nearly got changed to GMK Americana and had like some kind of novelties, celebrating all of the kind of pop culture stuff that America's brought to the world over the years. And
Fatty foods.
Yeah, well, yeah. We did tell you about like a burger logo on a keycap. That was kind of one of the ideas and stuff like that. But just things like that, all that whole kind of Americana piece, like road trips, Route 66, all of the history of film and TV, Broadway, that kind of stuff. And then kind of like this year's been this year, and it's just not felt like it's the right thing to do. So it's kind of on the back burner. A couple of people have kind of asked about resurrecting the project or picking it up and running with it, and I kind of don't know how I feel about it right now. So Mega is probably not going to happen, even as Americana. It's kind of on hold indefinitely right now.
Well, maybe just wait until America's great again, and then you can run it. Right?
Wow, you went there. You went.
God.
I don't.
I don't stand by anything I just said at all. For the record,
we can't get political on this show. We can't do that. Let's not go down that road.
The only political thing we can say on the show is everyone make sure you do your duty and go vote. And that's
yeah, man, go out and vote, dude.
Yes. Tying back into the keyboard hobby, before we kind of end this and go on to a Q&A segment before we end the show, I do want to kind of wrap back and just touch on a couple things, though, before we finish this topic. What are some of the positives and negatives about the community atmosphere right now? What are the things that you guys, and of course Twitch chat join in, what are the things that you really like about the community right now? Some of the things that we have really advanced on, some of the things that you just think that we've done a good job on moving forward in the community, and what are some of the negatives? What are some of the things that you dislike now that we've kind of gotten larger and grown and advanced?
I've got two really, really big positive things that I want to shout out. The first one is the fact that people are starting to become more open with information and teaching people how to do stuff. So I know there's been YouTube videos and stuff like that going up quite recently to teach people how to make PCBs and guides for that. And AIO3 has got a great guide, and I know that Martin Wood, or Evie, he did a great guide on how to start using Fusion. So to anyone who's done that kind of content to kind of drop the gates and open the floodgates to people being able to produce stuff and design stuff, that's a huge win in my book. Lowering the barrier to entry for design in the hobby is hugely beneficial. Overall, I think it has some negatives in there, the fact that we see some low quality designs and ideas, but hey, we're there to help and have compassion with people to try and help them shape their ideas, as Lang was explaining earlier. And the second big positive thing for me is how the community is rallied around each other in terms of supporting each other throughout 2020. So things like Mentally and Alex Otos's events earlier on in the year for mental health, and Lang and everything that you guys are doing with Clack Fancy, and all of the folks that have done online virtual meetups. I think just the sheer support for the community through all of those types of events has been massive, and whether people use it or not, I think everyone should go and check it out, because there's so much cool stuff. There's like Visionaire did his kind of giveaways as well, and so many people have done some big things for the community like that.
He raised so much money.
It was huge amounts of money.
Shout out to the Clackers Care event.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, we were part of that. It was
There's Quarantined on Deck too. That was huge.
Quarantined on Deck.
There's so many good things. I can't remember them all, and I've missed them all, and I've been involved in some that I haven't named and things like that. But all of that type of event, that's the second big thing that I want to shout out for this year, because I think those are huge positives for me.
Yeah. What about you, Lang? Any positives or negatives you want to touch on?
I want to echo a lot of the things that Jay has said now. I'll take it a little bit of a more selfish route right now on an individual level. The positive for me is that because I am very, very fortunate to be connected with many, many people, this has been my tether to actual reality. Like, as I alluded to, this year has been 1,000 years long. Like, some days are just crap. Like, people pushing me forward on doing designs has helped re-spark my actual productivity in my professional life, because I felt like, I accomplished something. There was catharsis that happened, and then I was able to move through. So like the community, and sometimes it's just random people tagging me on Instagram that say love this set, or sending me a random DM that is have a good day, I haven't talked to you in a while. And it's like, depression is a bitch. And so sometimes just having people there that you can talk to is extremely helpful and positive for me. So again, I echo everything Jay said. Community as a whole, I think, has done great things during the quarantine, and the pandemic as a whole. But that said, on an individual level, I really don't know where I'd be without it. People supporting key sets that helped me pay bills while I didn't have a job for 5 months. Like, I can't like undo that kind of support. So, I mean, that's huge. So,
yeah, I completely agree. The community has pretty much, and I've said this before, and I'll say it again. The community is like, without a doubt, the best part of the hobby and the worst part of the hobby. And people on an individual basis can really have a huge effect on that. And just like you guys are saying, there's people that are just so supportive and so helpful when it comes to anything and everything, and it makes it incredible. When I was going through a lot of mental issues, I had no energy, no motivation to do anything, like anything at all. Like, and what I would do is I would spend a lot of my days just like talking to people in voice chat on Discord. And like, it didn't have to be about keyboards or like anything important or anything in particular. It was just knowing that people like were just there to hang out and like chill and be supportive, and like all the positive messages that I got. And I know you brought up Minterly and Alex Otis's stream for benefiting mental health, and that was fantastic. That made me feel so freaking good in the community, and it's definitely worth checking out if you guys haven't seen those streams and videos. But yeah, the community just being so supportive and so helpful is just amazing, and it's the main reason I've stayed in, because if it were just about the keyboards, I think I would have been gone many years ago. But as far as some of the negatives, I feel like the community is the same. It's two sides of the same coin, I suppose. But we have so many people that come in here and they just don't think about the feelings of anyone except for themselves, and it's all about negatively judging this, offering criticism with no constructive nature to it. People that are just here to negatively meme and hate on people and talk about why this person's bad, or why this person's opinion is awful, or why these colors are trash. And offer something to the community, guys. Like, don't just be negative, right? Like, do something that benefits the community. Help out someone in some way. If someone's asking a basic question, don't give them a meme answer. That's one of my biggest pet peeves, man. It's when someone new to the community is like, oh, this is, what switch should I use here? What switch might work here? Like, I know it's a difficult question to answer because there's so much preference in the hobby, but like, phrase it in a way that actually works. Like, don't just be like, oh, well, get this because this is what I like. That's oh man, that always triggered me so bad. That used to be like the meme across a lot of Discords when people were like, what switch do I get? And everyone would just be like, 55 grand vintage blacks. It's like, oh man, come on, that's not for everyone, right? Sorry, that's just I have bad memories of that.
No, I mean, I think you're dead right there. Like, even me, like, I like to meme. Okay, like,
yeah,
it's not a secret.
Really?
It's
really?
For me, it's hard to not answer those questions in like a snarky way, because I'm so used to like memeing with my friends about how great browns are, like all that kind of shit.
Hey man,
so
browns are not a bad switch.
We can have a different conversation another time, but so it's again, it goes back to empathy, like, and sometimes it's hard because sometimes someone is trolling you, like, by asking silly questions. It's rare, but it does happen. It just happened to me the other day, and I was like, motherfucker. Like, anyways, I think one of the negatives of the community right now is how reactionary we are. Like,
yes.
And I say we, like, as a whole,
yes.
because there may or may not be some drama around current sets in IC, and being similar to other sets that ran, like, all this kind of stuff. Like, there is some genuine toxicity that comes out for being even tangentially similar to another keyboard or another key set. Like, there's only so many ways you can design a fucking rectangle. Okay, and maybe Geist Machine is proving me wrong on this because their shit is wild. But that said, like, it's the same thing with key sets. If we're going to use the same manufacturer all the time, all we have is colors at our disposal. Like, I don't own a color. Like, sure, it's courteous to ask someone if I want to use the same color as them. There is no fucking rule that says I got to do that. Like, you don't own that. And like, yeah, there's good things to and good processes to follow, like as a good human with empathy, but the incorrect response is piling on and saying, like, how dare you? They maybe don't have any idea. They're a first-time designer, maybe. They came in and it happens to be similar to something that already exists. Like, sometimes we suck, man. We just lay it on. And it's like, whoa, way to get someone to never try again is to crush them right away.
That whole mentality is why I stopped caring about key set colorways. It's just like, it's like, what's the point anymore? Like, everyone's just going to argue that a set is going to be just like another set every time. Well, it never fails.
And things that are ubiquitous too. Like if when I say smartphone, 90% of people on the planet are immediately going to envision some kind of Apple product because they created it, right? Like, an overwhelming majority, it's so ubiquitous, iPhone, that it's hard to not think of iPhone when you think of smartphone, okay? So there's some designs out there, and I'm doing my best to dance around it, that are so common, if you redraw it, and it's gonna look similar to the original concept art because it's like tissues and Kleenex. You can't separate the two, right? So if you do an entirely new design and it is different for a novelty or an artisan or whatever, or your desk mat, and everyone jumps down your throat because it looks just like this other thing that one other person did that time, man, Google that thing once and see how many hundreds of photos come up that are identical in concept, and tell me that other person owns it now. Like, it's so frustrating to me. Like,
yeah.
So that's a negative I see, is the lack of concern for this other person that is trying to be creative, as opposed to like the established person that happened to be before them. Like, time doesn't all of a sudden make you the master of something. Like, and yeah, you could have that argument about some things, but sorry, end rant. I'm done.
No.
Very valid.
I think I know what you're specifically talking about as well. But
yes, you should.
Yeah, I think I know exactly what you're talking about. But I kind of agree. Like, over time, the more things that get designed and developed, and whether that be a key set or whether it be a keyboard or whatever, you're right. There are going to be similarities across stuff. Look at cars, for example. Every single car on the world these days has got 4 wheels and an engine of some sort, or a battery pack. They've probably got glass windows as well, and most cars tend to have 2 mirrors on the side that you see out of to see what's coming up in the lanes alongside you, and they've probably got doors so you can get in and out. And you've only got so many different ways you can redraw a car. It's the same kind of thing. You look at a lot of industries like that, and things look generally the same, and you've got a lot of similarities across it, and we're going to have that.
To your point about cars, Porsche has looked the same since it was a Beetle. Like, it's the same car for 50 goddamn years, and nobody's saying, why don't you change how it looks? Like, it's okay to have things that are similar too. Like, yeah, there's a conversation about thievery if they do an identical thing and it's clear that that's been done, but come on, like, just
yeah.
Anyway, I'm done.
No, I think I hate to be mean, but I'm surprised at how hostile and how vicious and how intense people get about colors in this community. I feel like, as far as things that are important in the mechanical keyboard community, colors is not at the top of the list in my eyes.
It's difficult though, right? Because I don't ever want to detract from the designers that have come up with something as well. Like, they've spent time and effort and they've come up with something and they've developed it, whether that be Lang with his Olivia clones or whether that be whoever else. People have spent time and effort and they've come up with it.
How many Olivia clones are you gonna make, Lang? Come on.
I already have 5, so I already have 5.
3 more in the works as well.
5, all right.
I have one I'm working on right now that's a dead ringer. So
I don't want to take away anything from the other designers have done. So let's I don't know. Let's pick a famous set. I know Hamon, right? Okay, those are Hamon's colors, right? They're the two different reds, the white shade, whatever else you want to come up with it. Like, I wouldn't ever want to detract from that being Zambu's set. He spent time and effort coming up with that, and he managed to get into production, and it got made and everything else. I've got a set of it sat behind me, right? That's all fantastic. But if something looks similar but is kind of different, like I don't know, Cabernet's running right now, like it's still reds but it's different, that's going to happen. People you can't own colors, is what I think you were trying to say earlier on, Lang, specifically. Like a colorway that you put into something, you can't own it. Like, no one has exclusive rights to that, and there comes a really gray area between when is it okay for me to just do my own thing and just do it, and when do I actually get close enough to something that I should probably go and say, hey, Lang, I actually like this key set. It looks like graying, it's really close. Are you comfortable with that? And I think that's a really fine line to try and differentiate, and it's very difficult to do. So as the community grows and we see more interest checks and more sets, that line is getting thinner and thinner and thinner and thinner and thinner, and eventually it won't exist anymore, and people just do what the hell they want. You'll get to a certain tipping point.
I was about to say, we're going to reach that tipping point eventually.
Yeah, and I don't know how close to it or how far away we are from that point. Like, I wouldn't profess to know that, but it is going to get there eventually.
Yeah, I1A says color is what you see. When you look at your keyboard, 90% of what you see is the keycaps. Yeah, that's totally fair. Yes, I'm colorblind, joke, ha ha ha. Gio already beat you to it. Yeah, but it's fine. No, it's totally right too. I mean, you look down at your keyboard, most of what you see are the colors. Like, that's what matters visually. But I feel like, well, that's totally fine. I'm not saying colors are bad or that we shouldn't enjoy colorways and such. But I feel like the keyboard community used to be more about like the actual keyboards. Like, it used to be about the typing experience and not necessarily what color the keycaps are. And I feel like that's really like heavily swapped. Like, when I look at conversation around like keyboards in any Discord, a lot of it is about colors. Like, the majority of people are talking about key sets and colorways and the colors they like and dislike and such. And I don't know, it's an interesting thing to see for me in the community, because for me the community is colors are at the bottom. I care less about colors than I do about everything else in the keyboard community. So it was an interesting turning point to me, because I remember a day when it was about the way a keyboard felt. It was about the actual design of the keyboard or the typing experience. And nowadays it feels a lot less like that. I know we talked a little bit about that last episode with talking about stagnation and some of the designs and such. But yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting turning point in the community to see colors take priority over pretty much everything else.
So I think like this may be a nice point to end on, or at least kind of see us out. Us sitting here right now, and I'm gonna phrase it in a very memey way. Are we just boomers yearning for a time gone past right now? Because like when we entered the hobby, we all came together and we bought this, we made this key set happen, and now there's so many. Like, who are we to say that experience is dissimilar from people that are entering the hobby now? And maybe it is, but us sitting here talking about where the community is and stagnant design, and I am absolutely guilty of this. I just spent an hour and a half talking about all this with you guys, and I do all day. But in the spirit of being empathetic and having compassion, are we just being a little gatekeepy about this specific thing, like, and where the hobby is right now? I know we're having a larger discussion, but it's just something that popped in my head. Was like, holy shit, is this like in some way toxic to new people? I'm curious.
Oh no, totally. We are awful. We are terrible.
See, now he says we. Now he says fucking we.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm bringing you down with me. No, but honestly, a little. Yeah, at the very least, a little. Absolutely. And obviously, I try to preface most of our episodes this way, but we can really only talk about our feelings and our experiences, right? Like, we're not trying to generalize here. We're not trying to put out blanket statements or say that this is absolute and this is the way it should be and this is the way you should think. The whole idea of this show and the discussions we have on this show are to open your mind a little bit.
Yeah.
That's all. That's all.
Absolutely.
And if you don't agree with us, you know what? That's totally fine.
Yeah.
Well, I happen to agree with you.
You know what? That's not fine. We're all going down.
I think to answer to your point, Lang, my view on that particular point is that this is where the line is really grey and really thin, and there is the one side which is the I'm going to call it the boomer side because why not? And there's the other side that's the millennial side. Let's just go.
No,
for those.
no. We're Zoomers now. Like the young ones, Zoomers.
So boomers and zoomers and millennials. Okay, but I need another color.
Millennials are the line.
Okay, right, fine. hey, there we got it. Okay, so we just need to put this in the hands of millennials and let them decide.
Oh yeah, no, because we're responsible. We're a responsible people. We millennials are.
We're something.
But no, it's jokes aside. I think that thin grey line is getting ever thinner, and whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, that's for individuals to decide. And the community as a whole will choose a direction, rather than any one individual or small group of people declaring this is how it should be.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
I don't have anything to say to that, other than
sorry, I was just starting because I just saw Iwane's
preach.
I saw it too. Before we head over to our Q&A, one last thing I want to touch on is kind of just a look towards the future. Like, as far as community atmosphere is concerned, which is what we've been discussing a little bit today, where are we headed? What is it? Obviously, the community looked way different 5 years ago. What is it going to look 5 years from now, 10 years from now? Are we going to get better at things? Are we going to get worse at things? Are we going to have more separation within the community? What do you guys think?
So, my take on this is there's a couple of opportunities. Like, there's a few different paths that the community could take. Either it could kind of like stop growing and kind of stick where it is, or maybe even shrink a little bit, and not much will change in terms of how things are done. Group buys will still continue, they'll still be prevalent, blah blah blah, all that kind of stuff, and kind of things will be just as they are and just don't even kill. The other way that things might go is that this hobby might actually break out into the mainstream, and there's some early signs that that's happening. You know, with tech YouTubers now commenting on stuff, and you know, people like Random Frank P talking about what group buys are coming up each week and things like that. And if it breaks out into the mainstream, all bets are off. Like, you just won't be able to judge where it's going to go. Like, literally all bets will be off, and anything could happen in the community. You at that point, if it becomes mainstream, new manufacturers, new companies, new personalities, new design philosophies, ideas, anything could happen at that point. And that's probably the more exciting path. But at the same time, the hobby might lose a bit of interest for some of the old timers, the old guard that have been here for a long time, and kind of have a certain view on how the hobby should be and how things should work. So, don't really know which way it's going to fall. I would bet on the latter. I think it will enter the mainstream at some point in the next few years.
Yeah.
To bet, I think that's the way it's going. Like, the hobby shows no signs of slowing down. The numbers of people joining the hobby day after day after day are increasing ridiculously. The number of group buys are going up. The number of successful group buys are going up. The amount of units each group buy sells is going up. So, yeah, my money's on it's just going to break into the mainstream, and when that happens, anything could happen.
So I think it's definitely that. Personally, where it's going to break out and become more and more mainstream. I think another thing that we're already seeing is similar to on Facebook, everybody's got their own fucking business that they're selling a product of. Podcasts. Everyone I've ever met on planet Earth has a goddamn podcast. I say this as someone that streams on Twitch, on a stream on Twitch right now. Everybody's got a fucking
on a different stream on Twitch.
Everybody's got a fucking stream. So eventually, like, you know, and this isn't a dig at individuals that have cleverly marketed themselves to be able to make some real money here. But, you know, Nathan at Teja was the first to go full time, right? You know, I bet Alex ain't far off. I don't know if Minterly Nat is still working her other job, but I don't know, does Tiny only, make artisans and stream? Like, there are people that are able to sustain themselves by creating content. And I assume someone said it, it's like the App Store and phone games. Like, eventually you're going to see a lot of really low quality cash grabs that are starting to happen. And it's going to be someone's slick stream with RGBs and a light and a camera and some, hot takes, and people are going to follow them. What's that?
Didn't you just install all those RGBs?
I did just install all those.
Yeah, hey, that's a coincidence, isn't it?
We're gonna see a lot of this kind of shit. So,
you know what? I like that kind of shit.
Yeah,
yeah, and to Eric's point, like Osiris TV, just like Mechs on Deck, fucking cash grab.
Oh, totally, yeah.
Yeah, and gimmicks like a Minnesota Minute. Who the hell does that kind of crap?
Oh, that's pretty gimmicky. I do love that, though. I gotta be honest. It's one of the better redeemable point things. Oh man.
Anyways, yeah, I fully expect it to be more and more like, once someone sees success, it becomes replicated, right? The first, there were very, very few big time vendors. And, when I started, the only vendor that I could consistently get stuff from was Mike. I cannot count how many vendors there are now where I can get lube, switches, switch films. I mean, it's less for keycaps and keyboards, but that's going to continue to grow. Like, it's just the way it is.
Yeah. It's hard to keep up with vendors these days, just like it's hard to keep up with key sets and interest checks.
I have no fucking idea what's even running right now. I know Noir is. That's it. That's the only thing I know is running.
There's a really interesting point that someone mentioned to me the other day in a conversation, and they'd done a little bit of math. And can you remember as far back as 2017, Brian, the Halcyon days of 2017, right?
Yeah, it's like Melody 96 days, right? Like,
yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah.
So someone worked out that in that year there was something like, I think it was 15 different GMK group buys, right, or something like that, or something. I can't remember the exact numbers, but it was something like that. Maybe it was 30, I can't remember. But what they'd worked out is that this year alone, there have already been more vendors pop up in the EU than group buys ran in 2017. Which is, when you think about it, that's kind of crazy. And
that is an interesting metric.
I haven't validated the numbers, and I can't remember what the numbers were, but I remember hearing this and thinking, if that's true, that's kind of crazy. So it might be something that I actually try and sit down and do. If I can find a spare hour, I might just sit down and try and see if I can work out how many sets GMK ran in 2017 in Group Buy, and how many new vendors we've got signed up in the community in 2020, and see if those numbers are similar. And just try and validate that, because when you say it sounds crazy, but the more you think about it, the more you think, actually, that could be true. That might be right.
It likely
that
is
totally
true,
could be
actually.
Possible. Yeah, no, it's man, that's an interesting thing to think about. Speaking of interesting things to think about, we're going to be moving over to our Q&A momentarily. So if you want to get your questions ready, guys, to ask of us or preferably Lang while we have him here, the wonderful Langelandia, make sure you use the @TalkClack tag and post your questions in chat. We'll get to them momentarily. Until then, we're going to do a brief couple moments and talk about our wonderful sponsors, because somehow we have those. Somehow,
yeah, I don't know how, but we do.
Yeah, like it's just like a thing, but I don't know. It's weird, but it's a thing. Sometimes people are okay with us, and I know we talked briefly of the wonderful Mike of Novel Keys just a moment ago. Being one of the kind of more legacy OG fantastic vendors that we have, and of course, Novel Keys still up and running, still getting bigger and better than ever, doing some fantastic things. And this month alone, oh boy, do they have some things going on. So they typically run a GMK set every month. Well, this month I believe there are 3, which is quite something. So GMK Grand Prix and GMK Mudbeam still available, as well as GMK Space Cadet 2. So getting a second run of this finally. This is one of my favorite sets. And there's still some other things going on as well. So if you're a fan of maybe Random Frank P, the YouTuber, we have an NK65 version that is kind of designed after him. So bam, you want a fantastic, nice bundle. this is a good place to start for a keyboard. $190 gets you the entire board, which is pretty awesome. This is kind of a newer thing. Yeah, including caps, switches, cable. It's a full keyboard for under $200. Really, really nice stuff. So
that's better than the best keyboard ever made. So
wow,
that's less money. That's less money than the self-proclaimed Razer Huntsman Elite best keyboard ever.
Wow.
So
wow,
that's impressive. I would take this over the Razer option personally. But,
all day, every day.
Yeah, I mean, here you
every single time.
Yeah, you get the RGB, you get VIA. Come on, who doesn't like VIA? You get these fantastic keycaps as well as some nice switches. But if those aren't your things, they have other things in stock too. Lots of other switches, stabilizers, switch films, lubricants as well. I know Langelandia is a big fan of lubricants.
Oh, so, I do enjoy me some lube.
Yeah, you know, there's lots of stuff. You guys are ruining my sponsor segment. Just kidding. If you do want to buy something in stock, though, make sure you use the promo code ClickClack, one word, no caps. That'll get you 5% off your total order.
Cool. Jumping over to our second sponsor of the day, it is Kono.store. Kono have lots of things going on, more than I can talk about, but to give you a few things that you might want to take a look at, they do have a GMK rainy day running right now, which ends fairly soon, which has been a bit of a sleeper hit. It's been doing better than I personally expected it to do, so much so that it actually convinced me to pick up a set. So yeah, definitely check that out if you're interested in it. As well as that, there's also Cat Lala, the surprise cat set that just dropped on us out of nowhere. That ends tomorrow. I think it's already hit MOQ for most of the kits, if not all of them, and I'm sure it will all get made with Kono in charge. But that ends tomorrow, so if you are going to join that, do make sure you join it ASAP. But there's a couple of different options there in terms of colors for the alphas and modifiers and everything else. As well as that, they've also got SA Nightlight, round out the trifecta of profiles as well. So you can have GMK, Cat, and SA all at the same time. So definitely check out SA Nightlight if that interests you as well. And of course, as always, if you want something in stock, a board to keep people going or to get people into the hobby and help them out, the Hex Gears OEM boards are all available on there and shipping pretty quickly as well. So definitely take a look at those if you know someone who's trying to get into the hobby.
Yes. Next up, we have the KBDfans, the wonderful KBDfans. Has pretty much something for everyone. It's basically a one-stop shop. They got switches, stabilizers, keycaps, plates, PCBs, cases, kits. You name it, they pretty much have it. And they actually have quite a few things going on right now as well. So the Melody 65 group buy, I believe, is happening quite soon. And it starts at about $239. So I know a lot of people were into the Melody 96. This is obviously a much smaller and sleeker format of this. So that could be something for you if you're into 65s. Speaking of 65s, that doesn't stop there. They have the D65, which did have some in-stock units, but those sold out a couple of weeks ago pretty darn quickly. But there are still some pre-order options left. And apparently there's a flash sale coming in about 11 hours as well. So you could be able to get your hands on one of these. This is a little bit more expensive, $329-ish starting price, but lots of options there as well. But if you're like me and you like a little bit more value out of your keyboards and you want the most bang for your buck possible, keep your eyes out for the KBD67 Lite, which is something I'm definitely interested in because this starts at $100, and it's supposed to more or less compete with the NK65, which I hope it does because that'll be super impressive, and it'll give us another fantastic option going on. If you're more into the keycap side of things, though, they do still have Enjoy PBT. I'm going to have to find it now. My gosh. Click on the group buy section. I can do this, I swear. They still have the group buy open for Enjoy PBT Scotty, or Scatty. I don't actually know how to pronounce this. This is, as Lang would put it, another weeb set. However, if you like the colors, maybe this could be for you.
Awesome. And jumping over to our final sponsor tonight, it is the wonderful Leandrin of Mekanisk. So a few things to call out here. The WT60D PCBs are back in stock. I'm going to be picking up one of these for my thermal so that I can convert it to ISO. So definitely excited for that. There's also some interesting new plates that are available as well for tray mount cases. If you've got a clipper or a Fiel or anything else that's a tray mount case, there is also what Leandrin's calling next gen 60% mounting plates. Basically, these come in a variety of different colors and finishes, but it does mean that you can get an E Ultra Hot or an Ultramarine plate available as well. So depending on what options you pick, you could get an E Ultra Hot plate, which is pretty pretty cool, to be honest. ANSI only, as far as I can tell at the minute. I wasn't able to find an ISO one, which means I do need to bug him and pester him for a personal one. But definitely check those out. As well as that, he's also got the new Duroc Ultramarine Mekanisk branded, well, they're not Mekanisk branded, but Ultramarine Mekanisk colorwayed stabilizers and switches are coming soon as well. I'm still really hyped for getting any Ultra board. Like, I wasn't expecting to like that color as much as I do. Like, it just looks great.
I'm really glad that he's doing plates in that colorway as well, and you can get the Ultramarine too. Yeah. This is pretty cool too. Admittedly, the previous Mekanisk plates, I didn't really like them as much just because of how universal they were in their terms of like layout choice. But this one's looking a little bit better. This one actually should be quite a bit nicer. It doesn't have quite as much free space in the bottom right, so you actually get a little bit more of a consistent sound out of that one, which should be pretty freaking awesome. All right, back to the Q&A, ladies and gentlemen. If you guys have questions, make sure you get those in before we head out. Iwane asking, are you doing Secret Santa? Also,
yes.
What are you typing on right now?
Yes.
Oh, yes, we are doing Secret Santa this year.
So Secret Santa, we will announce details on the Discord in the coming week. I've been sorting it out in the back end. I've been a little bit slow about it, but effectively you're going to have the whole month of November or thereabouts to join and participate, and the first 2 weeks in December to ship your products. Over the course of around Christmas, Brian and I will set up a bit of a stream where we will talk about what we've got from our Secret Santas, what we've sent out to other people, and we're going to be able to invite you guys on the show to share your Secret Santa stuff as well. So we're all just going to have a really good time and just really, really enjoy it. So we'll sort out some dates for all of that, but keep an eye on the Discord server if you are interested in joining the Top Clack Secret Santa. There'll be options for you to just stick in the US if you're US based, or to participate worldwide if you want to look at the worldwide audience as well, because I know we've got people from everywhere that watch Top Clack, so definitely keep an eye out for that. We'll share it wherever we can, so yeah, just keep an eye out for it.
Heck yeah. He's also asking what we're typing on right now, so time to do a keyboard check, gentlemen.
Keyboard check. I'm typing on my thermal with there you go, HHKB thermal with GMK DualShock.
Gosh, that looks I need a thermal. What do you got there, Lang? Give us the rundown.
I have the Iron 165 FE with DMG on it, and kind of my signature 98 gram linear is in there. So that's what I type on. That's my huge Shima Daily.
Daily.
Shima Daily.
Ever since I did a build stream of this not too long ago, I've been using this. This is my Polaris, and this also has GMK DualShot on it. So we're rocking DualShot, and DMG. Can you tell that we liked old video game consoles?
We like the D. Wait, no. Sorry.
No.
Yeah.
Well, yes. Accurate. Well, very accurate on several levels, actually.
Well, yeah. So I mean, some of us are just more interested and more open-minded than the rest, right?
Sure. Yeah, that's fine.
Sorry, just lost there for a minute in thought.
No. I think all of us are.
Just thinking back to a meetup in Seattle.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Behind closed doors.
And then SoCal, I get to snuggle with Luke.
Oof.
Man, he's got some big arms for cuddling, man.
Oh yeah. When he does that, and I just all over.
You just melt. Your knees collapse. R.A. Can is asking, anything new about Lodestone?
Yeah, so Lodestone is still in development. We've had 3 prototypes. I've actually done a stream where we showed off the final prototype working. It will happen. Like, Flex is my partner on Lodestone. He's been completing his Virgo group buy. I've been doing the JO1 group buy. We've kind of just like lost a couple of months due to that, and also waiting for stuff to happen in Salvan's queue and things like that. So yeah, it's still happening. It will be coming soon-ish. I'm not going to give you any dates because I won't be able to stick to them. But yeah, keep an eye out and it'll happen. Maybe we'll send some review units out. I mean, Lang, would you like one on stream, a Lodestone to review on stream maybe?
I would love that, and I would give you my honest opinion.
Yeah, great. Okay, well, yeah, keep an eye out. Lodestone will happen.
Sign it, seal it, deliver it.
Click the button. Oh wait, no.
Do the things.
Do the thing. Click the button. Send the money.
Wait, no. It's near Halloween, so like this is a magical spell, right? So, keep Guardium Deliverosa.
Wow.
Nice.
There we go.
Yeah.
Nice.
Someone clip that.
There you go. Ione also asking, what is your biggest group buy regret for keyboards? Do you mean like missing a group buy, or one that we got but we regretted it
I
when we
think
got
either. I would assume either. Regrets.
Regrets. Okay. You want to start us off, Jay?
You all know what my answer to this is.
Doro
I've said
67.
it. Yeah, like I still have that board. I've not taken that board out of the box since the day after I got it. Like, just such.
All right.
Yeah, I don't have any words for it. I'm not talking about.
What do you
anymore.
regret
Yeah,
missing out on, though, Jay?
What do I regret missing out on? I don't know, man. Like, there's so many boards I would like to have that I didn't get. Okay, so one quite recently, I saw that Zek was starting to ship out ogres on Instagram, and I was like, oh, I wish I'd got one of those, and I didn't. So, yeah, that's the most recent one.
That typing test video makes me feel like the laziest content creator ever.
Yeah,
like, met me. Jesus.
I just. Anyways, no. So I typically usually would say the Doro was my biggest regret. However, the Doro, when I was in that Discord for Alf, I met people like Petrov, and then I ended up being in the Think 6.5 Discord, where all of that money from all of those group buys ended up rolling into Iron 165 FE through changing hands and just, moving that money forward. So had I never joined Doro, I don't think I would have an FE on my desk right now. So for me, my biggest regret, which I was able to buy, thank God they did a Reforged. I always missed time. I wanted that keyboard the second that I saw it. I never could buy it. So thank God they did a Reforged. And I spent the $600, and my wife was like, "What'd you spend $600 on?" I was like, "Don't worry about it. We're good."
Don't worry about it. It's good. We're all good here.
Yeah.
How are you?
Yeah. Interesting. It's funny you should mention wives, because I was talking to some friends about this the other day, and we were talking quite morbidly, and this is a real aside. This is like completely different to what we're talking about, but we're talking quite morbidly about what would happen if, like, for example, I passed away, and my wife is under strict instructions to reach out to a couple of my keyboard friends who will remain nameless, but they know who they are, to basically just sell everything and try and help her out financially. But yeah, like, do I need to like start thinking about having a proper keyboard will?
Oh, God.
A keyboard will. Wow.
I don't want to have that conversation.
Neither do I, but it's one of those things. Like, I have a will in real life, and that's a difficult thing to do, right? And sit down and talk about. But like, she doesn't get a lot of the keyboard stuff. She doesn't understand it. Like, she knows what keycaps are and what keyboards are, and she could probably name a couple of them, and she knows like what a 60% is and what a TKL is. But like, she wouldn't know that, say, the Iron 165 FE is worth any more than
some whale is going to
else,
pay $4,000 for it, right? Like, she doesn't know that, right? Like,
yeah. She doesn't know what the market is and how things are, or like that. I've got brown up switches. She'd probably sell them for 20 pence a piece, and it's like,
yeah, we'll take
$5 a piece.
We'll take care of you, right? Jesse in chat said we'll just have a 24-hour stream to benefit your wife, and we'll raise $700 million, and it'll be good.
$700 million. There we go.
Well, I'm lowballing, so I don't mean to be offensive, but
naturally.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I was hoping for $1 billion, like just a nice round $1 billion. That'd be all right. That makes sure she was okay for at least the next like 2 years, right?
I think we can muster 1.3. Let's not be too conservative here.
Oh,
what about you, Brian?
That's nearly double.
What's your regrets?
My regrets? I gotta be honest. As far as joining a group buy and receiving a product, I don't think I've ever truly regretted joining a group buy after receiving the product. With that said, I do have regrets for missing out on group buys. The thermal being the big one right now. I'm seeing everyone's thermal, and I'm just crying over here because at the time I couldn't afford it. Yeah, so that's quite a bummer.
If I get another
that
PCB
ran when you were moving,
huh?
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jay.
I was going to say if I manage to get another PCB for this and the plate files are out there and I can get one cut, I'll just send mine to you, dude, and you can build my second build for me, and you can get the experience that way.
You know, if you send me your third one, you're not getting it back, right?
Oh, like my T60 that I actually had to come to America to get back. Yeah, okay, I see.
Yeah, it's pretty true. All right. I don't want to talk about it. All right. No, that would be awesome, though. Honestly, that'd be pretty cool. Even just building one would be fun. Just like use for like a few days or whatever, you know.
Yeah, boy.
Jay's still saying "yeah, boy," and he doesn't even have his hood on. Come on.
I wrote it on a post-it note, and it's on the bottom of my Onnit rafter.
Oh, is it?
So I was like,
that's awesome.
I'm just looking at the post-it notes every now and again randomly to come up with a phrase. So it was just the one I saw.
Did you write down Booyakasha? Did you write that one down?
No, I didn't write that down. No.
Okay.
You Like It is asking a good question here. How critical should one be when receiving a keyboard from Group Buy? External minor blemishes are okay. Internal no anno specs / dots where it looks like the jog would be okay. I thought these days jigs are in the screw holes normally. Also plates, brass, PC blemishes on those are okay. Price a factor to how critical it should be. That's a big question. So
there's a lot to unpack there.
How critical?
There's a whole raft to unpack there. I think it depends on a few things. One, a lot of vendors will have kind of like a set series of rules. Like I know Novel Keys and Canon Keys are really good at this. They say this is kind of what we expect from A stock and this is what we expect from B stock, and they will be quite out there. I think price that you pay for the overall kit probably does influence that as well. Like you're not going to get something as nice quality for $100 as you are for $400. Like that's a thing. Things are just there. How critical you are is going to be personal to you, though. Like the level of one person's criticality is going to be very different to another person's. And when you speak in the Discords, this is going back to the whole kind of lurkers and active members thing. More people who are active the people who are more active tend to be more critical than the general consensus of the community as a whole. So it's really difficult to say, but I would say that if you are uncomfortable with something that you receive, then you should absolutely reach out to the vendor that you've purchased it from and say why. And they will be open and honest back with you. They'll say, well, this is our thoughts on it, and so on and so forth. I think a lot. It just really depends. Like there's so much to unpack there. Like especially if an external defect instantly says B stock to me. An internal defect like the anodization tabs that you get from the jigs depends on how the board's been designed as to whether they can use a screw hole jig or not, or the parts for it. So on the inside, as long as it's not visible when the board's built and it's not terrible, then I would potentially class that as A or A minus stock. Plates, PC, you shouldn't be able to see any blemishes on PC.
That's the thing, right? Like when you say A stock, like what does that mean? Because that'll mean something different to everyone, right? Like I think a lot of consumers probably consider A stock like complete perfection. There is literally nothing at all wrong whatsoever. No scratches, no blemishes, no discoloration, no anything, no errors whatsoever. Which, in my experience in this hobby, is basically never. I don't think I've ever seen a board that had no issues at all.
The thing is, though, that we produce things in such small numbers on a manufacturing scale. Like most things that are manufactured, they're done in the tens, hundreds, or thousands or millions. We manufacture in the tens or low hundreds. Maybe the low thousands. We're not even starting to hit that kind of standard manufacturing bracket. So whilst all of the vendors will order extras and things like that, there's always going to be some things that we can't control, and the way that we design some of these products means there's going to be slight variations and fluctuations. But that doesn't mean say you shouldn't settle for something that you don't agree with. Like if you get something and you think there's an issue with it, you should absolutely just reach out to your vendor and talk to them about it. Most of them are going to be great about it. They're going to be open. They might offer to exchange the unit for you, or they might give you a small partial refund, or they might see what you want to do to fix the issue, or it might be just you want to give them some feedback and they want to take it forward. Whatever it is, I think that's the key. You should be happy with what you've got. You should weigh up how much you spent on it, what you've received, and if the two marry up in your head, great. If they don't, have a chat with your vendor.
Yeah.
I also think we're just too damn pissy about it sometimes too. Like if Key Cult is allowed to sell A stock items that have internal marks, then fucking everyone can.
Everyone
like,
should, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to sound like flippant about the fact that you spent $600 or $700 or $800 or $900 on a keyboard in group buy, and then you get it and there's some marks in it. Like, that sucks. I get it. But if I'm never going to see them, does it matter?
Yeah.
I would contend no. And if what we perceive as the zenith of all quality that is, at least, right now in conversation for the best of the best of the best,
absolutely,
if they are selling A stock and it's acceptable to have internal marks, well, hell, it's acceptable to have internal marks for everyone then, at least to an extent, right? There's a level that would affect functionality, and like a huge gash in the middle is a different conversation. But chips, marks, slight, anno things, whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
I would
sometimes
say,
we just get too far up our own butts about it.
I would say that if you're one of the people that is a complete perfectionist and you're expecting perfection, like 100% true perfection, don't ever join a keyboard group buy. Just don't do it.
Yeah, like, manufacturing's hard, man. Like, it is so difficult. If you give 2 pieces of metal to a manufacturer and you say anodize those in this shade of black, like, they're gonna come back and they're not gonna be the same, because the metals will have different sizes and weights. They'll need to be in the anodization bath for different amounts of time to get the same color. Yeah, it sucks, but that's just the way manufacturing is. Now, if you're doing 10,000 of them, it doesn't matter, because you can then say, well, this top actually marries up with that base really well, and this top matches up with that base very well, or whatever. It's much easier. But when you've got 10 or 100, doing that matchup makes it a lot more difficult. So and that's just one example. There's always going to be other issues. Machining as well depends on the quality of the metal that's purchased, and has it had to be refinished, or has the designer taken into consideration how it's going to be dipped into the anodization tank, and so many different things. These are, someone said it in chat, these are artisanal products, and you need to treat them as such.
Yes.
If you go to a bakery and you buy an artisanal loaf of bread and it looks slightly different to the picture, you're not going to complain and take it back. But then again, if it was advertised as having olives in it and it didn't have any olives in it, well, you're going to complain and say, well, there was no olives in my loaf of bread. So you have to bear that kind of stuff in mind, I think.
It's a good question. It's a big damn question, though.
Yeah.
It's
a great question, though.
Yeah, everyone's going to have we could do a whole stream on talking about that. I think we could do a whole episode.
Yeah. And you're going to have people that are like, no, it needs to be 100% perfect. That's what I'm paying several $100s for. And like, it's a somewhat fair argument.
Yeah,
but I'm not in that camp personally. I'm okay with having, some internal blemishes. Like, I'm not going to see that stuff. But like you mentioned at the beginning of this question, Jay, I think a lot of these days, at least, like, it's such a common situation for people to like freak out about that a lot of vendors kind of have their own disclaimer, where it's like, this is what A stock is, this is what B stock is, like, here's what you can expect. And I think that's what everyone needs to do. If you're running a keyboard group buy, you're a vendor or whatever, like, you need to be able to put out that kind of disclaimer, so that way when people complain, you can be like, well, this is what you bought, like, it's not my fault you didn't read this before you clicked buy, right? That's how I feel, at least.
And then, as the vendor, how you handle that conversation is also incredibly important.
Sure, yeah.
Because some vendors are going to be much better about that communication than others, and say, look, I know it's unfortunate. We have the disclaimer, and we try to explain A stock, B stock, etc. Here's why, blah, 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 as opposed to, should have fucking read it, dude.
Yeah.
There's different levels to that.
There is. And like, I'm sure this goes for most vendors, but like, if someone reaches out to me with a problem, the first thing I want to do is make sure that they're happy with whatever solution we come up with. And that solution might be different from person to person. No one, not everyone takes the same dress size, right? Everyone would wear a different size dress. So the solutions for different people might be different things, and sometimes it's not easy to come up with like a mass market solution where there's an issue, and sometimes only one person might say they have an issue, and in that case, it's you just communicate with them and talk and see what makes it better for them. And I would preach to anyone, just reach out to your vendors, man. They want to help. They want things to be right. They want you to be happy. Like, they wouldn't be in business if they didn't want people to be happy.
Good customer service reflects very, very nicely on them. With that said, I've worked in customer service like my whole working life, like quite seriously, and I will say that the customer is not always right, and I really hate.
Correct.
I really hate when people are like, "Oh, the customer is always right." I'm like, no, that's not how this works. That's not how this works at all. And
I once had a boomer got upset that I banned him from my restaurant after he called my bartender the N-word. He said, "Look, man, I made a mistake. Customer's always right." I was like, "Not in this restaurant, you aren't." Like,
Yep.
customer's not always right, dude. Sometimes they're just assholes. Maybe they're even, introverted assholes. Right?
Wow.
So,
I will be completely honest. You see that in keyboard today. I'm not going to mention any names. But I've cancelled orders from people that have joined group buys when I've seen that they've said unsavory things, or they've said that they're going to do something that I don't agree with. There was a recent group buy that I ran for a certain board, and instantly someone asked me after they'd purchased it how much they could flip it for, and that was not the right question to ask me.
Yeah. And I think it's outrageous and outlandish to expect vendors to accommodate everyone with everything they want. Like, the vendors are people too, right? Like, you should be able to do things the way that you want as the vendor.
And the other thing as well is the vendors in the hobby, they're hobbyists themselves. They're in this hobby because they like it. It's not like they're just doing it for the business. They're not. They actively join group buys and buy stuff for themselves. So, anyway.
With rare exception, but yeah.
Yeah. Like I'm sure there are some exceptions, but the vast majority of vendors, are collectors or in the hobby because they want to be. Like Mike's collection of keyboards is insane, and Upas buys keycap sets and artisans all the time, and hell, I buy too much, so
Me too. I buy way too much.
Yeah.
I think we've all.
Anyway, should we move on to another question, because I feel like we could talk about this
yeah. We saw some.
The next question, it did come from Porcupine, didn't tag, but it said, "How is the flex on the thermal J for everyday use?" Did I miss one before that?
We can. Yeah, you missed one. That's fine. We can address this one first. How is the flex in the thermal, Jay?
It's interesting. It's softer than I thought it would be, but in a really pleasant way. And I still haven't used it a whole amount. I've used it for maybe a week as my daily driver, except when I've been doing spreadsheet work. But I don't usually like things that are overly flexible. But I've been really enjoying typing this. It actually reminds me a lot of the IDB60 to type on.
Nice. So right before then, Big John asked, "Hello, would you guys recommend going for the D65 or wait for the Vega?" Does the Vega have a released price yet?
I don't think so.
The Vega's like the 65% Polaris sort of thing.
Yeah, right? And the D65 is the new version of the KBDfans 65%, right?
I don't think it's meant to like replace the KBD 6.7 line, because it is a bit more expensive, and it's also kind of a different design. I don't know. I mean, obviously KBDfans is the sponsor, but if I had to pick one, I'd probably say the Vega, just because I've been typing on the Polaris and I've been freaking loving it. And one of the reasons I love it so much is because I got it for the original group buy price, which was like $250.
Nice.
And so that was freaking amazing. And like that's what I love about this board, is it was designed to be like amazing at this price range that other customs weren't really hitting. And that's why I think the Polaris is so successful. And if the Vega does the same thing, like if we get a comparable price point for the Vega, I think it's going to be an absolutely tremendous value, and a lot of people are going to get it. The D65 for me, it looks all right, but I think it's starting to reach the higher end of price point, starting at a little over $300.
Okay, I think the counterpoint to that is it depends on how much you want to wait as well, because from what I understand, KBDfans are going to have some of the D65 in stock, so they'll ship pretty much immediately. Yes. So the second side of this equation depends on how long you want to wait to get the keyboard. Do you want to wait 9 months, or do you want something in the next few weeks? Because if you can get one of the in-stock D65s, you're going to get it faster. I think I'm trying to look at the site and talk at the same time, so I'm not sure I'm doing this right, but I'm pretty sure they're going to have the black polycarbonate, the clear polycarbonate, the grey, and the e-yellow in stock, as well as e-white and just standard black anodization. And then there's going to be some other bits and pieces that you can pre-order if the in-stock ones sell out. So I think that's the other consideration you need to make.
Yeah, definitely. This hobby is certainly one of patience, and sometimes if you're willing to wait, you're going to be rewarded with a pretty awesome product. And I think the Vega will be that. After my experience on the Polaris, I think the Vega is going to be fantastic. Nothing against the D65, but aesthetically, it's not necessarily my style, so I would pick the Vega just on aesthetics alone. But I do think that, assuming the Vega is like sub $300, it's just going to be a better pure value.
That could be a big assumption, though. We don't know the price yet.
We don't, but the Polaris was like $250, and if it keeps like within the spirit, I would expect the Vega to be like around $300.
Sure. I think the other thing as well is whichever you choose or don't choose, the beauty of the hobby right now is there's always something new coming as well. So if you go for neither of these, there will always be something new around the corner that you'll be able to go for.
Yeah. I mean, 65% are like a dime a dozen these days. That's like the popular layout. You're going to find some other stuff in that.
For good reason, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's second only to 60%, which is a superior layout. Moving on. We're gonna. Anyways, jokes aside, Ione is asking. It's an interesting question. If you could only type on a very niche layout for the rest of your keyboard lives, what would it be? Also for Lang, any comment on the cafe leak you posted on Instagram earlier?
Unique layout. So, I think a very niche layout. I would choose Cypher, that F-Rollless 1800. If I had to pick one to never ever move from again, I would choose F-Rollless 1800.
Is that niche though?
I was about to say, is that niche enough?
Well, how many F-Roll 1800s have there been?
True, but like it's
am I drowning in that like I am 65s?
Oh, hear me out for a second. Hear me out for a second. When he says very niche
I love
layout,
Lang's angry face.
I feel like he really means like the nichest keyboard layout. Whereas like
the
F-Rollless 1800 is like a standard layout, but without the F-Row.
Okay. So for context, my answer
it's a very friendly layout. Come on.
Yeah. Okay, so my answer for this would be the ISO variant of the Equinox wing-keyless 40% layout. That's why I would daily.
I'm gonna go out on a limb here, and this is gonna surprise a lot of people. I'm gonna say the Ergo docks. And I'm gonna be honest, I have not spent much time on an Ergo docks. And the time I did spend, it was embarrassingly low words per minute. However, I feel like if I had to stick with one layout for the rest of my life, I feel like if I got used to that layout, that would be the layout for me. If I got used to it.
Nice. Come on, Lang. Second try and answer.
It's okay, Lang. I'll let you slide with the F.
No. It's fine. Like gun to head. If it's probably not even niche enough. If I absolutely had to.
Feels bad.
I was able to very effectively use the 45 ATS for a long period of time.
Nice. Yeah, okay.
It's a nice looking board.
It's missing a fucking punctuation column, which pisses me off to no end. That said, I think it would if it would be if it has to be more niche than a board that only has a few in existence, I would choose that layout.
I'm never gonna live this down.
I'm drowning in F-Rollless 1800s over here. There's so many.
I'm not saying it's a common layout. What I'm saying is that an F-Rollless 1800 is really to me it doesn't feel as niche just because it's the same layout as an 1800, but without
fine.
The
I'm going to Geo's point on this. In my defense, there are far more docks layouts than there are F-Rollless 1800s.
Wow.
Boom. Dropping the mic. Okay, thank you, Gio.
All right.
So what
I had that one
we've
covered.
learned here is I'm the only one to successfully answer the question. The second thing that we need to do, though, is move over to the second half of the question that says, for Lang, any comment on the leak you posted on IG earlier? Which I think is what we talked a little bit about the show. So
Before the show.
Yeah,
Any
so
further
soon, TM, there will be cafe available for people from vendors or whatever. So
Cool.
There you go.
And there may or may not be some Arabic sub-legends on a kit involved with said set, because coffee comes from that region of the world and was really perfected then. So
some coffee.
Some coffee comes from there.
Other
right?
coffees are available.
Other coffees are available.
Oh, we're not getting into this. We're not getting into this.
Obviously it was discovered in Ethiopia, but I feel like it was really refined and made into something incredible in the region where Arabic is a very common language. So, anyways, that's why I really wanted sub-legends on that. So we tried to make that happen. So
awesome. Well, I'll be getting some because Arabic is... I literally just I found through a friend GMK Arabic for sale, so I bought 3 brand new in box sets the other day. So yeah, Arabic is spot on. Yeah, good choice.
Kajata is asking, a 1mm brass plate a bad idea?
Yeah, so it's a 1mm brass. That's going to bend real easy, man. That's going to be really easy to bend. Also, your switches won't clip into it; they'll be slightly loose in the plate.
Yeah, I think there's a reason we don't really see sub 1.5mm metal plates. I mean, I guess we see metal 1.2mm for outlets.
Yeah,
right?
1.2. I've never seen thinner and in metal, I guess.
And 1.2 is usually reserved for Alps rather than MX as well. So I'm assuming you're talking about MX switches. And yeah, you really don't want to be going under 1.5mm for MX, because if anything underneath that, the switches don't, whilst they clip in, they have movement in the plate. And even if you solder them in, the whole PCB and plate assembly will have movement between it. So I would probably not advise it.
Yeah. Iwane asking, where did Lang go and who is this guy? You came back from sponsor and this other guy was wearing a different outfit. Oh my god, it's totally true too. It's totally true.
He literally didn't even notice.
I assumed you.
Jay is sitting here watching me change,
Yeah.
and Brian didn't even fucking notice.
Well, I didn't look. I mean, I have to look at like 4 different things. I wasn't looking at your cameras during the sponsor spot. I noticed.
I saw some. The reason why I was kind of distracted during the whole novel keys thing was because he was kind of like taking bits off and doing stuff, and I got.
I was like
really
moving
good shot
around,
of it.
like.
Yeah, so
really nice
I have it, the way I have it laid out on stream is to where nobody could see you during the sponsor section, Lang, because I don't want people to be
Which is
wrongly associated or whatever.
Yeah, so that's fair, which is why I took the opportunity to be weird.
Yeah, no,
because
I appreciate it.
Iwane recommended it, and I thought it was a fantastic recommendation, so.
Yeah. Totally agree. All right. Just doing a little scrolling here through the questions. Sorry, guys. Is the stream lagging for anyone else? Is the stream lagging?
For a time, it was on I'm watching on my phone, and there were some skips, but it seems resolved now.
Okay.
Interesting.
Let us know how it is now, chat. Obviously, we're coming to a close on this stream, but I don't know. It seems like, is it Twitch? We've had this issue a couple times lately, I feel like.
Yeah, because I'm not on my Wi-Fi on my phone. I'm just on my cell signal, and that was jumping for me. So I assume
it hasn't skipped for me, and I've been watching it on my desktop, so it hasn't.
Okay, well, maybe my part of the world is less advanced than yours.
No, it does say that we've dropped a couple frames, not a ton, but some earlier on. So I don't know, something's going on. I'm not entirely sure what it is. Gio says, I'm pretty sure I already called dibs on his thermal if he wants to sell it, right, Jay? Oh my gosh, no way.
No.
No? Okay. Does that mean
not even waffling? Just no.
Does that mean
I don't remember him having
dibs?
dibs on the thermal. He does have dibs on the Zephyr, I know that, but I don't think he has dibs on the thermal. I don't think anyone does.
Does that mean I can have dibs on the thermal, Jay?
Unless I've forgotten about Geo having dibs on the thermal and he can provide evidence, yes, you can have dibs. But if he provides evidence that I've promised him it's to, and if I sell it, then I'm afraid
All
it's
right.
like,
Well, Geo's gonna have to go find evidence, otherwise.
Yeah, if he can't provide evidence, you have dibs on the thermal if I decide to sell it.
Good. All right. Hopefully there is no evidence there. PO says, breaking news. Lang confirms free coffee for all Top Clack viewers.
Nope.
Nice. Wow. Thanks, Lang.
Nope.
Oh, all right.
Girl, I don't have that kind of money. I was without a job for 5 months, so come on.
Oh man! All right, looks like
you did give people coffee back in Seattle. I remember you.
I did. I handed out a shit ton of coffee.
Do you know what the worst thing is? I couldn't bring it back to the UK because it's not something you can fly with. So I had some, and then I had to. At the airport, they made me throw it away.
That's a bummer. I did not know that.
I think it might have been okay if I'd have shoved it in my actual hold luggage, but because I had it in my hand luggage, I think that was the issue.
Oh, Geo says he even screen capped it to taunt me. Uh-oh.
Oh, no.
Uh-oh.
Okay. He hasn't sent me it, so until he sends me it, or until he tags me with it, I'm going to assume it's not real.
Oh, man. All right, well, it looks like we are caught up on questions, and we've gone a little ways over time. Not that we really have a time, I guess, but now it's probably a good time to wrap it up as any. Any closing thoughts, gentlemen?
Yeah, okay. So a couple of things. Well, Banterships just said, have I ever built a Timberwolf yet? No, but I would love to. So if you've got one, send it my way and I will build it.
One of the most fun fucking keyboards I've ever built, dude.
Really?
I've never built one. I don't think anyone in the UK bought one.
It was so wild. I had so much fun. I loved that keyboard every second of it. It was just insanity.
I need to take this as a want to buy post, guys. Want to buy a Timberwolf if someone will sell me one. Anyway, closing thoughts. So this week coming, there's going to be a whole. I was going to say something I probably shouldn't say on Twitter, but there's going to be a ton of streams from me this week coming. So I've been quiet on the build streams for the past week or so because I've just been mad busy doing 1,001 other things. But my build catalog, is getting out of hand. So this week coming, starting on Sunday, there is going to probably be a build from me nearly every single day as I try and get my build queue down. Starting with the MK76 Fat Boy on Sunday, and then some of the other highlights. One will be a non-keyboard build because I need to convert my Game Boy Advance to an aluminium shell and backlit screen. So I'm going to try something a little bit different with that. So that's a Game Boy Advance one. But then there's also a key cult number 2. My Juby turned up this week. I want to rebuild my Petrichor. There is my Phantom number 2 to do. I've got a Duck Viper V2 that I want to build that I've had for God knows how long. I've just not built. That's been sat in my cupboard for a couple of years. Someone sent me a random 60% kind of like polycarbonate blue board, so I want to build that at some point and see how that goes. But yeah, I think probably there's going to be 7 build streams over the course of next week. Random times, it's just going to be whenever I can fit it in, but watch out for those.
I like it. Yeah, I have quite a few build streams coming as well. I have a few boards on the way that haven't arrived to me. However, I've kind of decided recently that a lot of my boards need to be rebuilt. Mainly for the reason is I want to try some new things in a lot of the boards that I currently have. And I think it's a fun alternative to buying more boards since I can't really afford more boards right now. I'm just going to sort of breathe new life into the boards that I currently have. So I'm going to be doing a lot of... Yeah, exactly. Thank you very much for that, Jeff. Appreciate that.
I got you, boo.
You the best. So, yeah, I'm going to be doing a lot of... Booyakasha!
Another one.
Wow, that was a good impression, actually. I like that.
Thank you.
That was very accurate. So yeah, a lot of build streams upcoming for me as well. As a lot of you guys in chat might have realized, I finally got some bookcases up so I can have some keyboard displays behind. I need to get some more keyboard stands so I can actually display them. Right now I just kind of have keyboards freely laying around as they do. But yes, lots of build streams coming up soon, as well as an episode of Behind the Keyboard, which I know we haven't seen in a while, but scheduled a guest for that coming up soon, and that's going to be pretty interesting. So look forward to that for anyone that likes that kind of stuff. And yeah, other than that, check below the stream. You can find a link to our official Discord, and you can come talk about your favorite Peruvian food, or keyboards, or maybe music, or games. There's a little something for everyone there. So make sure to come join there and hang out with us, and yeah, make sure to catch Lang as well too. I'm gonna go ahead and spam your Twitch.
Yeah, Lang is one of the more premium keyboard builders out there, in my opinion.
Premier and premium. Hey man, you laugh, but it's a good time.
Thank you for the compliment. It's very not earned.
Your streams are always entertaining. Would you take that?
I will accept that.
Excellent.
It's a good time. It's a good time.
Do you know what, Lang? I want one of the build streams I do next week, whatever time works for you. I want you to come on and I want you to commentate my build stream.
I'll practice my how word goes so.
I would so love that if you just commentate.
Yeah, man, I'd love to. I'm happy. Yes.
Okay, cool. We'll sort something out because that could be really fun. That could be really fun. And the other thing I want to do as well, and this I kind of want some feedback from chat, but would chat like some workshop streams? Because I do a ton of stuff in the workshop that I could stream quite easily, and I have some really cool new toys coming soon. So maybe some workshop streams.
Interesting. I think people generally would be down for that.
I would tune into that because I personally enjoy the Instagram stories. I love seeing what's happening. I love like that transparency of here's what's happening with this group buy, and I'm putting up these shelves. Fuck, I'm tired. I need to take a break. Like whatever else it is. I swear so much in your stream. I'm sorry.
It's fine.
Like, it's fine. But like I love that. I think it's great. So.
Right, those Insta stories that I do, they're so cathartic as well. Like, it helps me arrange my thoughts in my head to say, what do I need to do today? And it's like, I will record myself walking around, and it's just a shitty 30-second video, but it so helps me just understand what I need to do each
Jay,
day.
I'm gonna have to ask you to watch the swears, okay?
God.
Wow. From you, Lang? Wow.
Oh my gosh. This is just devolving into exactly what it needs to be.
The rails.
We need to pick someone to raid too. Who are we raiding here?
Oh man.
We're gonna go with who's online right now.
Oh man, Gio's just done me. Oh man, Gio, I feel offended here. He said, "Is that the biggest cutie, Lang, Mr. Cafe himself, and next to him with Brian and Mr. Holy Panda, and Jay." Jeez, man, thanks.
Oh man. I mean, I have respect for you, Jay. I know other people might not, but
I love you, Jay.
Little Gio, wow, we're friends.
It looks like Discord's kind of breaking on me, so I think now's a good time to end the stream. I'm gonna go ahead and raid someone. I'm gonna look who's online right now. I'm gonna go ahead and raid DD Decline because he has the least viewers.
Our friend Dank.
Yeah, I really like Dank. He's a good
and he's
guy.
Got Kimchi Jody Boy on tonight.
Yeah. Yes, he does. So I'm going to go ahead and start that raid, guys. But anyways, just to wrap it up, everyone, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it as much as we did. Look forward to lots more streams coming in the future. And, of course, Langelandia, thank you so much for taking time out of your obviously busy day to join us and bullshit with us.
So busy. No, this I love. Thank you very much for having me.
No, thank you for being on, man. We love you, dude. So it's great to have you on.
I miss your faces.
All right, guys. Until next time, join us in this raid to go say something wholesome. Say something wholesome to DD Decline. Doesn't really matter what it is. Just say something wholesome. All right, guys. Let's go raid.